Cosmic, stop.
Okay.
Just leave it all to me.
Just leave it all to me. All right, we should be live.
Oh, all right.
Should.
There we go.
Are we?
I like this.
In the fray. I know it is perfect. All right.
Yeah, there you go.
We have our own layout. Screw you, Chief.
We have our own layout. TMC podcast.
Yeah, see, we've been TMC.
We are now professional.
All right,
you're now professional.
Let's get into it.
You are now 5 years into the future.
Exactly. All right, everybody. Welcome to the 53rd episode of MapperCast. It is an honor to be back as your host. I haven't hosted in almost 2 years now, coming up on that. So it's great to be back. Let's get right on into it. We have an amazing guest. We have EmperorTigerstar joining us today to discuss various frivolous things. So, you know, welcome to the area. So I would go through the topics, and I'm going to. So I'm sorry, the little Discord thing on the screen might go messy for a second. So I apologize. But yeah. So first of all, Viper, Mysterious, and Alp couldn't make it. So you know, this yada yada.
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm not here.
Okay, I'm really done.
You fucked up the overlay.
Mysterious
you ruined the layout. We're not professional anymore.
I know. I really just messed everything up, guys. I'm so sorry.
Just minimize the document so that the Discord so shows.
I can't.
Yeah, you can minimize it, but you know,
it's in the same.
To open a second window.
TMC.
Like, don't have a full screen.
Like no, like you shrink the window so that way, because like it only shows the area of the Discord.
Okay.
Yes.
Should be good. All right, we figured it out, guys. Okay. So, our featured mapper for today is Epic K910. We're going to be reviewing his Alternate Future of the USA Volume 2 series. Our fan winner for today is Welsh Mapping, who submitted just a wonderful, thought-out, thought-provoking, nuanced topic of discussion, which I'm sure Chris will have much to say about. And as always, the links to everyone, their channels, are in the description below. So, yes, I'm going to just go through the topics real quick. First of all, as I said, we're going to talk about Epic K910's Alternate Future USA. Then the classic fan request, directed specifically at Chris. Italian Mapper Chris, do you have any relationship advice?
Wait, what? Are we doing the Mapper winner first?
Yes.
Are we not even, like, doing our introduction?
He already said that. He already said that.
And we're not doing the... And we're not doing the introductions? What happened to all the formal shit?
The introductions are after the topics.
The introductions are after the topics, Chris. What do you...
Okay, so we go on to the topic before we even do the introductions. Who made the document?
I'm introducing the topics, as the host does.
Oh, yeah, but...
What the... Chris, you alright, man? Okay, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna ignore that. So, Chris, do you have any relationship advice? Then we're gonna... You know, it's probably because Viper just reads them, and I actually like to go a little bit into it, so you're, like, getting confused. You're thinking I'm starting it up.
Yeah. But, yes.
Okay, so then we're gonna do the ceremonial pulling of the wildcard topic out of the hat. Then we're gonna discuss the prevalence of social justice warrior hysteria, or hysteria over... Oh my god, the SJW. It's essentially just a carbon copy of the topic that Chris and I talked about in Screamfest, but, you know, this was done very impromptu.
Yeah,
then we're going to debate. We're going to debate if we believe high production value maps are needed in order to make mapping of quality. I just essentially had a massive Twitter argument about this the other day, and that's why I'm putting it here. Then we're going to discuss the place of comedy and dramatic storytelling, and then we're going to discuss what non-mapping YouTubers we watch in our free time. Close it off with the free-for-all Q&A and the quiz game to select the mapper winner and fan winner, and then say goodbye. So let's get into the introductions, which according to Chris we skipped over. I'm your host for today, Cosmic Mapping.
Hello, everybody. I'm 99 Batran, and I'm in this podcast. So let's get this started. Yep.
Wait, why are you saying Mindria in the document?
Oh, okay. Just skip over that.
Cosmic, you fucking retard. Anyway, fucking horrible director. Anyway, say hello.
Cringy.
This is Chris. Should you be saying Batman? Anyway, this is going to Chris. Enjoy the fucking podcast, whatever.
Chris is kind of cranky today.
The edge on Chris today, man.
Jesus.
No.
Chris is kind of cranky today, guys. Don't try to poke the bear, okay?
No, I'm not.
Chris is acting like a menopausal Italian grandma.
Just continue.
Alright, hey, it's Mysterious. Glad to be back.
Hello, it's Paper Bonobo here. Today I'm new on here.
What?
I got rid of this rat guy, so I'm going to bring the Papal Church on you.
That's got to be a reference I'm not getting.
And then I'm EmperorTigerstar. Hello.
We're already making it.
Don't aggravate Mario.
Perfect.
Okay, Batran, do you want to be muted?
Okay. Spotless introduction, guys. Alright, so let's get right into it. We're going to quickly gloss over Epic K19's Alternate Future of the USA. I didn't get enough time to watch it because I'm a degenerate and I guess I don't take my job seriously. I tried my best, guys. I was essentially alone in this. But Mysterious.
Wow.
Let's be honest, Chris. Mysterious, our resident reviewer, has looked it over. I don't know if Tigerstar has. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
But yeah. Let him have the. Let whoever wants to speak take the floor.
So, just to clarify, am I the only one?
I skimmed over the first episode.
Wait, did Mysterious watch it?
Yeah.
Ah, I'm so happy I could see him roast him. Okay, go on, Mysterious.
Okay, so the first thing that I noticed before starting the series was that the map was a bit icky, specifically with the borders being kind of jagged, and the fact that Alaska and part of Canada was covering up the entirety of Mexico, which wouldn't be terrible if you didn't have then elements of using Mexico and Canada later on in the series. So if you do have plans on not just focusing on the USA, you kind of have to make it so that Mexico and Canada are in.
What? Oh,
As soon as the
oh, okay. I apologize. I just disconnected from the Discord chat. All right. Well, just ignore that. That didn't.
Now it's
happen.
everything frozen.
So, keep going.
So as soon as the series started, there was instant conflict. There wasn't really any build-up. You kind of want to have some initial story to your series before you start like the first war or battle. However, despite the conflict happening instantly, it was somewhat justified because there was good motivation from Alabama, saying that they wanted to expand borders. Blah blah blah. At least
It's Alabama.
Alabama gave some explanation. Your zooming in of battles was kind of unnecessary, just because, especially with like states that are fairly big and don't need to be zoomed in on, you could do it on the map and it'd be in plain sight. There was a few typos, but you know, typos are typos. Just gotta be careful of that. Some text messages were on the screen longer than they really needed to be, so it felt kind of awkward. But it helps if you just like kind of read through the video yourself to see how long it takes you to read it, and then make it maybe just slightly longer than that. There was little story in between each fight. It would kind of just be, I'm going to fight this person, that fight would resolve, then immediately someone else is going to fight someone else, and there wasn't really any build up to anything. You want to have some story between each fight. The warpaths were kind of strange in a sense that like they would, you know, conquer territory in like straight lines and not like, I don't know, it was just very awkward warpaths. I don't know how to explain it. I liked the fact that Canada played a large part in the series. Most alternate future of USA, they majorly focus on just the United States itself, and don't really use Canada much. So it was, you know, interesting that you did. A suggestion I have is that you kind of think about your music as it pertains to the story, because your music kind of stayed the same for the entirety of every episode, you know. So like, there was no mood change with the music. It was just the same song or two songs throughout the entire video. You know, didn't matter what was happening.
Yeah.
And then overall, I think you know, the series was made a year ago. I imagine your skills probably have improved over time. So I think if you did a fresh revival of the series, it could be promising. And that's all.
Okay, I heard someone said Alabama. I didn't hear that one. Someone want to say something about that?
I pretty much have to can just agree on Mysterious. He said everything.
Okay.
I would have wanted to say too.
Let me make sure everything's working. Whoever's messaging me and putting the new unreads, you are causing this chaos. Okay, So, does anyone else have anything to say on this topic? If not, we will swiftly move on.
Just
Swiftly.
Just mute the server cost, man.
Okay.
Guys, do you think we should add a music bot to here so it can play music in the background?
No.
Maybe not. No.
That's not something we discuss here on a podcast. Carl.
Moving on.
You need to move the thing down, by the way.
Yeah, I see. Okay. All right. So that is that. I hope we provided some, or I hope Mysterious provided some insight. So, moving on, we're going to the fan request. Oh my god. Let's try to get through this as quickly as possible.
It's your goddamn friend, Chris, and you don't want to say anything.
All right, Italian Mapper Chris, do you have any? And he's gone.
Okay, I think he just fled.
He's outie 5,000. All right, so I guess we have an obligation to discuss the fan topic. So we're gonna do Chris a favor.
Where's the interview?
We're gonna open this up to the to everybody.
Yeah.
Just, do you guys have some relationship advice for our wonderful viewers?
Well, snapping even said on the stream, I left a call for this. It better be worth it. Chris,
I had some, but I forgot.
But I have no relationship advice. Okay, I will tell you where this topic comes from. One time, I was in a group chat with. We weren't even talking. We were texting. We were like a group chat.
Yeah, you gave Welch advice.
Yeah, but there's those. I'm not fucking like good at this. Like everyone here could have given the same advice I gave. It was so fucking easy. I'm not a master.
Okay.
One thing you can say,
but you
forgot.
I forgot. I had pretty good
yourself.
advice too, not like whatever. I forgot.
Like, is this advice for getting one or maintaining one?
Getting one.
Both. Either one's appreciated.
Anything relationship.
I think with Welch, rather getting one because he's.
Tigerstar, Batra, you got this.
I forgot.
Tigerstar,
You don't just forget this.
What do you mean you forgot?
That doesn't make any sense. You don't just forget.
Tigerstar, tag me in. You go.
You just gotta be direct. Like, just don't do any BS. Just be direct.
Be direct. Tigerstar
Next topic.
actually
Also,
has things to say for this.
Sometimes it'll just never end very well, and you'll get frustrated and think that they rejected you or something. But it's because that they literally had no idea what you were doing. So just it makes life a million times easier for both parties involved.
Wow.
Amen to that. So I think Mysterious.
Well, next topic.
Hold on, I think Mysterious is foaming at the mouth to say something here. So what do you got?
Foaming at them. Okay, so there's a bunch I could say, but I'll say two. One is you gotta put yourself out there. You know what I mean? You can't expect a girl to find you. You have to find them, and you have to put in the effort to start something with them, whether that's just a friendship or a relationship. So you have to put yourself out there. The other piece of advice is, when it comes to once you're actually in a relationship, is to talk to and see your girlfriend on a regular basis, but not so much that she grows insane. You know, she sees you too much and it drives her like crazy. She needs her free time. She needs personal space. So just finding a balance of seeing her every day, but not too much, is important.
All right then, I like that. We got like some maintenance advice from Tigerstar, and some go out and get him kid from Mysterious. So I hope whenever you need relationship advice, come to MapperCast. We'll handle it. All right.
I got
just
one.
Not Chris and Batman.
Just not
What
Chris
the
and Batman.
heck are you just saying? What are you saying? Want to fight me?
Okay. All right.
Considering that,
we're moving on. So we're moving on to the.
No wait, okay.
All right, we're going to do the wildcard topic, then we'll do some stuff about lives, then we'll move into the interview, which I forgot to put into the description. But let me go ahead and do the ceremonial. I haven't looked in the mirror yet today, so I'm sorry if I look terrible.
You were looking good previously.
Aw. Hey! Wasn't that cool? The nice fade.
I had something good.
It wasn't like it wasn't a horrible jittery fade in like we get with Hangouts. We got like a legitimate bars. Like look. Oh, I can peek out. It's fun. So, wildcard topic. Whoever's typing, please bring the levels down a bit. All right. Wildcard, let's go. Okay. We got... Oh, okay. Who is typing?
I'm trying to do a drum roll.
Oh, that's a drum roll. Okay,
wow,
I'm sorry.
so mean.
Wow, I just sabotaged my own suspense. So we got, what is your most dramatic moment in life? I'm gonna fade away now.
So what's the topic?
I just told you.
Cosmic, you didn't say the topic.
I said, what is your most dramatic moment in life? Did it
What?
cut out?
Oh,
What is your what?
What is our most dramatic moment in life?
Oh,
That's the wild card.
when I was born.
I mean, that
works.
kind of works.
Nailed it.
I had great emotion on that day. Not good emotion.
The most dramatic things in life is literally everything that happens to me when I lose a dream.
Fun.
It's like for example, I'm just going to name an example. For example, I found myself in an alternate version of the world I live in, and suddenly out of nowhere.
Could you say an
narrator
alternate
starts
future
speaking.
of the world you live in?
No, and narrator, like you would have it like a history documentary, came and just talked about the fascist Republican uprising in the Netherlands in 300 AD after the fall of the Romans, which wanted to overthrow the king. I don't fucking know. It just happened.
The hell?
And since it was a lucid dream, I was fully conscious during that.
That sounds fun. Not gonna lie.
And
I'd be down for that.
then like those people came and tried to kill me. Then I woke up.
Fun. Okay, I guess I'll go. When I was like 7 years, I might have told this story once before. I can't remember. But when I was 7, my mother was pregnant with my sister. We lived in New York City, and we went to this little pier area. It was called like Pier 47 or something. And the pier had this little grass sort of little park thing on the water, and the whole idea is families would come and lay out their picnic blankets and get a little bit of green in New York City, which is hard to find. So we went there, set up our picnic blanket, and it's New York, so just walking down the street, yo, pumping their stuff, was the literal members of the Crips and the Bloods showing up.
Walking here.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was bad. This was during a time in New York where the Crips and the Bloods were kind of, their feud was at a boiling point. They just come in the middle of this area and start arguing with each other and like threatening to just like start this massive gang fight. And so I'm 7. I start crying. And then they notice us and they just walk up and start tormenting my family. And like threatening, and it was terrifying. This pregnant woman here, and just this nice little family trying to have a picnic, and the Crips and the Bloods came and destroyed it. So now I have like a deathly fear of peers that has stuck with me for my entire life. So I'd like to thank the Crips and the Bloods for that. So, who else wants to go?
Can I just say, I thought this story was, when you first said we were in this park and my mom was pregnant with my sister, I immediately thought you were going to say your mom gave birth to your sister in that park.
That would have been a better story.
Anyway,
and as it happened, like some Italian opera, like randomly started playing. Add to the drama.
Exactly.
So,
well, my second sister was a home birth, so that kind of.
I would have fight them.
Home birth.
If you want to fight them, okay.
Okay, so the story that comes to mind for me, most dramatic, I don't know, it was a very emotional, dramatic kind of day. A little over a year ago, I was in a wheelchair for like a few months, and that was bad or whatever. But the dramatic moment was the day I finally got my like big ass cast off because I got knee surgery. It was the day I could walk. So not only was it very, I don't know, it was definitely great to be able to walk for the first time in a while. But then I immediately, went from like the doctor's office where he took off the cast to like back to school, and just having everyone be like, "Oh my God, you can walk again," and just congratulating me and whatever. I don't know. It was a very emotional, dramatic day. So there's that.
Aww.
It would be funny to hear Chris. We probably would talk about how homeless.
We haven't heard Tigerstar, Chris.
Yeah, and Batran.
Oh, and Batran. So, any of you want to go?
I'm trying to think. It's like I've never really been in like a near-death scenario, at least yet.
Is this in a topic?
No, it's
Well,
it's
most dramatic things. So like I can't really think of like what would really count.
Just like anything.
You ever had a big ass fight with
What I
someone?
think is dramatic is probably way different.
A moment where the world just like closes around you, and something's happening.
I think there was one time I almost choked on something, but that only lasted like 5 seconds.
Yeah. That sounds small, but that's happened to me a few times, and that shit is terrifying. I'll just say
because like kind of like you said, like the world just starts closing.
Wait, would you say it only lasted 5 seconds?
Later, like, oh, yeah,
exactly.
Sleep
I'm sorry, I
paralysis
couldn't
can
provide.
also be creepy. Batran didn't say anything yet, I think.
Batran, come on, man. I know you got it in you. I know you got some drama in that soul. Or maybe he doesn't.
If there's any drama, I would probably forget already.
Alright.
Something that happened at McDonald's, maybe. Silence.
There's not much drama that happened at McDonald's.
All
really.
right.
Except for those
Didn't you tell didn't you have had like this one story where like two blacks started to beat each other up in the restaurant?
Oh yeah, that. All right. Wow, there's so much stories I have about McDonald's now that I don't know what to say. Say for which one.
All right. Well, maybe we'll save that for the free for all or something because
okay, sure.
I want to get the ball moving on this.
I don't have anything really dramatic to say.
Okay.
I mean, the dramatic stuff I would say is probably just online BS.
Yeah,
like
Batman's a connoisseur
BS.
of dumb internet arguments. That's what he's best at.
Wait, what?
So we can move on now. I didn't put it in the description, but we have just a little bit of questions that we can lay down on Tigerstar in the vein of what we did with Merview. So let's move on into that. These were all written by Batran. I don't know any of them. So
most of them.
Most of them. We'll start off. Let's get into this Tigerstar discussion. Was there ever a time, any point in time, where you considered doing mapping?
No.
There you go.
Okay.
I'd like to. Okay, this sounds interesting.
Awkward.
We can get into it on this because that was a very stern no, and I would like to ask, where's the sternness coming from?
So when I started my channel, I was in middle school. So keep in mind, I was in middle school, and in middle school, I thought that mapping was kind of stupid.
Wow. Wow.
So,
how dare you burn the heretic?
I almost being a stubborn middle schooler, just like I'm not gonna do that. And then my actual stuff took off, and so it's like, okay, I don't need to now.
But you don't need to. Did you ever view it as like something that was expected of you to do?
I mean, a few people would always ask, like, "Oh, do you ever do alternate futures or country balls or anything like that?" I'm like,
don't do.
Oh, that's not popular.
Oh God, country. Yeah, you don't need to do country balls. You were cutting out a little bit, by the way. I just want to say that.
I was.
Cool. Okay, so what can we say? We're not going to convince you of the merit of mapping. That's too. Yeah, with the amount of people I've had to explain what mapping is in my life, I know how difficult it is, and I'm not prepared to do that right now. So, let's move on. So, this next question's from Batran. We got what inspired you originally to do video mapping?
Okay, so here's what's fun. So, we all joke around about how Merview Moraine's the prophet of everything, and how it all started.
Yeah.
Well, so basically, one day I saw his World War One, and I thought it was so bad that I was going to do it myself. And that's how I started my channel.
Oh,
except I actually didn't do World War One first. I did Napoleon, and then I did World War.
So that means Merv, you created both. With your
he didn't create it.
I mean,
he created.
Well, he
But
kind
he
of.
inspired.
He was the Big
Inspired.
Bang. He was the Big Bang
He
that
was
started video mapping.
Inspired.
You know, he was a spark
That's
that
a
lit
better
the
one.
box.
Wait, what's happening? I come back and I see a build saying to burn Tigerstar. What did he? What happened? What happened?
Yeah, just some friendly discussion is all. So
Basically, EmperorTigerstar was inspired by Mervu. That's it.
I was inspired by history.
He's inspired by
yeah,
history.
make his
That's
videos.
all. Tiger, just by the way, you might want to reconnect your mic or something because it's doing some moves.
It's like it's just completely
It's
cutting
doing
out.
some moves.
Yeah,
it's moving out,
cutting
you know.
every once in a
I
while.
think it's just you, Cosmer. Sounds good
Is
to
it
me.
just me? Okay,
Yeah,
if
sounds good to me.
it's just me, then I'm insane. And
I
just
think
don't-
Chris is breathing into his microphone.
Oh,
The echo,
gosh.
yeah,
Stop.
the echo is my fault. Yeah.
All right, maybe I'm just insane. If that starts happening, just if let us know in chat. I could just be nuts. All right, so next question, Batran, how about you deliver it?
What gave you the term video mapping?
I think it's because like anytime, like I said, oh, I made maps on YouTube, people would just assume like it was mapping, like you. Did that cut out?
And you,
Yeah,
no,
you're good.
Go on.
For me,
Go on.
for me it is, but-
But so anytime I say like, oh, I made maps, they say like, oh, like mapper don't, and so I just kind of made a different term just so people would know the difference.
Wait, you would have want to come up with video mapping?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I mean, I'm not saying the name is bad, but where did video mapping come from?
Honestly, I just made it up on the spot just to make it.
Yeah,
different, and it caught on.
I can see it.
This is a little optional right here, but I was just gonna say it. Have you considered that, like, if video mapping, like, would the term, like, would do you think you get confused with videos about mapping?
What do you mean?
Like video mapping, there's mappers and people who make maps on videos on YouTube. Like, would saying video mapping kind of get confused with them as well?
Maybe, but they've already like adopted the term mapping or alternate future or Mapperdonians.
I guess, but
Yeah, I think video.
maybe to an
video
outsider.
mapping-
I mean, as an outsider perspective.
I don't know. I think video mapping
mean,
and
maybe.
mapping have like become their own terms enough where people aren't gonna get too confused.
I mean,
Yeah, I know.
some people also just use like history mapping or what.
Yeah,
That's true.
that would have been a better term, to be honest. No offense.
More educational.
No,
I would just be sim mappers or simulations.
So,
Make
I got
simulations of.
I got a question.
I would rather prefer sim mappers.
I don't think this is in the script, but it just came off the top of my head because, you know, your stuff is known for your videos pop up in classrooms a lot, just out of the blue, and is that syndicated? Like, do they ask you or do they just do it?
Some people ask me, but usually I don't care if they ask me or not. And if they want to use my videos in the class, they can just do it.
All right.
Because like it's not like they're like copyrighted, trademarked
That's
products or anything like that.
I guess you can't
I mean,
copyright.
Were you popular in your school?
Relatively, but like you know, like these are meant to educate people. So if a teacher wants to use them, I don't. They can use it as much.
I gotta ask you guys how you know about the stuff being used in classrooms, though, because personally in my high school, I did not ever get shown Tigerstar's video.
Well, you know, it's spread around a
because-
lot. When it happens in this community, people always, you know, it's the first thing they'll mention in chats
know-
and whatnot.
You know, Mr. Owner Bonner, right? So his videos were shown in the classroom a couple times.
Yeah, it is interesting. I just,
Yeah,
I'd rather if they ask, because I just like to keep a record of it personally. Like if I was making the stuff and it was getting syndicated all over, I'd like it. But yeah, you know, in the pursuit of education, you know, the free marketplace of ideals. There we go.
Cosmic, you don't own this shit.
I guess you can't copyright history, really.
Yeah.
Oh, you got
And,
trademark
like,
mapping.
Every once in a while, I'll get a comment saying that, or like whenever, like every half year or so, I'll make like a channel census survey type thing, and that'll be one of the questions. Like, oh, have you seen it in the classroom? Have you used it in the classroom as a teacher?
Yeah.
People say yeah.
I took that. Okay, so next question we got from Batman. How did you and Cody from Alternate History Hub meet each other?
He was actually a fan of my channel before he got.
Ooh.
So we had already just kind of been aware of each other.
I watched Cody's videos since he had 300 subscribers. I remember when he had gray maps.
Oh,
Yep.
Wow, that's
Made actually a gray world map and stuff.
Probably got that from
Actually, the funny thing about alternate history about Cody, the thing is, I watched some of his videos before I was interested in, geopolitics and mapping and stuff. So I remember watching his videos long before I started mapping. Like, these videos are boring. I don't care about the what if the American Revolution didn't happen. But like years after, when I was actually interested, I actually sort of like watched his video with a whole new perspective.
You would probably see my name on one of Cody's videos. I was in his video once.
Wait, what?
That's a long time ago.
Alright, we had a little bit of a lag spike and lost some viewership from that. Sorry for
Move on to the next question.
Alright, we can move on to the next thing. Okay.
Lost 10.
Lost 10 from that lag spike. You guys aren't dedicated. Oh yeah, he did. Didn't he?
Well, I am. I'm not saying.
Mr. Cody said my name.
Cody said my name once. I mean, I had to pay him like $5, but
you guys skipped me. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Let's move on.
Should we
He
move
didn't
on?
even do what I said.
Should we move on to the next question? Should we do a topic?
You always skip me.
What? How am I?
What do you mean skip you? This is an interview for Tigerstar.
No, I know. I know.
How'd we skip you?
Nah, this isn't the first time Cosmic always is like this.
What did I do?
He's silencing Batron.
I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to talk about the lag spike.
Yeah, just move on. It's over.
Okay, Batman, do you have something you want to say? Because I'm not trying to skip over you.
Like, there's 6 more questions left. Let's.
Wait, we have questions?
Yeah, these are questions.
No,
Well, we don't have to do all of them. Okay, fine. We'll just.
Yeah.
What do we?
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Rad. Jeez.
Okay, so what do you think about the current state of world affairs as we stand right now, Tiger?
Very, very depressing.
Oh yeah.
I'm just gonna mute myself in this part.
Yeah, Chris is a fascist, so.
Oh come on,
boy.
Chris! It's the whole reason. Like, come on, top 10 crossovers. We want Chris, Tigerstar screaming at each other. Come on, Chris.
Hashtag.
Also me and the Hash for no
I
reason.
mean, fun fact: me and Tigerstar. I don't know if you remember this, but one time we did kind of argue against each other in a Skype chat. But it wasn't about politics. But we did. It wasn't about politics. It was about Italian army.
Oh, man.
And Galactic Penguin was on my side, so no big deal. Anyways, just answer the question. The question is for you, Tigerstar. Just answer it.
He says depressing.
Yeah, that's why I
Is
said
that it? Is that it?
It's very depressing right now.
I thought you wanna describe it a bit better. Okay, sure.
Oh,
I mean,
Well,
He wants you to provoke him.
No, because like I'm just gonna say it. Like I'm on the political left.
Oh,
so
well.
obviously, I don't have very much to be happy about right
I mean, I'm not saying myself that it's not perfect. I don't think it's perfect either. But I won't say it's depressing. But some parts are depressing, I would say.
It's very depressing.
Chris, if you're tuned to most of the governments that are now changing, then of course it's not depressing.
The whole children internment type thing, I'm not too big. I'm not too big on that,
Hey, you gotta give us a little juice here. Where does Cody lie in the spectrum?
So Cody's pretty interesting. So like he identifies as a conservative, but like when I've talked with him and we've gotten into issues, economically he's actually more on the left in terms of economics, but he's still kind of traditionalist, if that makes sense.
So like
socially,
maybe like a more like libertarian. I don't know. Not
No,
not libertarian.
because well, the problem with libertarian is ideally a libertarian wouldn't care how people act socially as long as they're not hurting anyone, so they'd be very liberal socially. But then some libertarians are socially conservative anyway, but they just call themselves libertarians. But that's beside the point. But like Cody, it's so weird because like when we get into individual issues, Cody and I actually agree on a lot of things, but he's still like socially traditional in some aspects. And like Cody is a Catholic. I'm hearing an echo.
Someone's echoing.
It's Chris.
It's me, so I'll unmute.
But like Cody's a Catholic. So for example, he's economically on the left because he wants help the poor and stuff like that, like financially, and work on things like ending homelessness and ending like wealth disparity and things like that, and he's pro universal. But on the other hand, he's not like college campus type person, if that makes sense.
So like a moderate.
I
Moderate
guess.
kind of.
Maybe.
Like hard to explain because
So maybe a liberal conservative. I don't know. That's what they call. Or conservative liberal. I
Well,
don't know.
economically
I guess,
liberal, because
'cause
I wouldn't call somebody who advocates for universal healthcare a moderate necessarily.
But like on like
Lib-
in Europe, for example, that's a centrist view.
That's true.
It's interest.
Because like
Liberal
by American standards, universal health care is considered far left, but in everywhere else, it's like no, that's about normal.
Yeah.
Because like even Margaret Thatcher is pro universal health care, and that's Margaret.
Yeah.
She's very right.
Exactly. You know, we're a
So-
bit less evolved in America in our way of thinking.
How
Yeah.
dare you? Okay.
How dare I?
Batman, don't start now.
You wanted to talk.
Well, anyways, this goes to show that people are more complicated than you think. They cannot be labeled as one or two things based on whatever they stand on. You know what I'm saying?
Baron,
Yeah.
you're the one who's trying to say, oh, so is he this? Is he this?
Yeah.
You ask if
Yeah.
You're the one trying to label him.
because like when you ask him, he'll just say he's conservative. But then like every single time we've argued about issues, it's like, well, okay, you're kind of both. Weirdly, like
It's like maybe like the old Republicans before Ronald Reagan, because they were like quite on the left.
Classical.
while Republicans used to be the more left party.
Well, I was just saying that just they people like say that they're conservative, but sometimes they have like stance on different issues. Not all conservatives agree on everything. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they're complicated.
All right.
Everything's a spectrum, you know. I like Chris and I obviously in terms of labels, Chris and I are complete polar opposites, but then we like actually talk. I think particularly in economics, and you know, there's a lot of agreement there. So I think
Yeah, we can agree on something.
we are kind of past the questions, unless Batarang has something he wants to lay down before we
Any-
move on. Anything?
You think you can get Cody on MapperCast? I'm kidding.
Oh, okay. Wow, just jumping right into it, Batarang. Okay, so
Probably
let's.
not going to happen.
Yeah, that's. Maybe on episode 100. We'll figure. Whatever. So, moving
Anything
on.
like
So
life
all
or
right, let's move on.
really?
So, okay. this is.
I still had something on that, but you guys not let me speak
I
about.
thought you forgot it.
Yeah, because
Okay,
No, I
serious
said I
thing.
had something. I said I had something.
that's okay. Yeah, that's more of a. That's not really a question that we should like. We can talk about that later on in the private. But okay, whatever. Let's move on. So we're getting into our actual topics finally. So we're gonna
Experience.
experience. What?
No, just saying
You were
that.
cut off, Cosmic.
Was I cut off? Shit.
Just go.
I'm sorry. If I cut off, just let me know and I'll figure it out. So we're gonna discuss the prevalence and hysteria over so-called SJWs. I know
I found it.
I kind of worded that. Maybe I worded this a little bit biased in the description.
Yeah.
But you know,
What do you think about him?
I write who I am. So, I personally think we're living in an era that is completely obsessed. Like, half of the country bases its political ideology off of, like, an H3 video they saw in 2015, and then that's just, like, their depth of political knowledge. And that,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna open this up. What do you guys think?
Well, for
I mean, Cosmic. Do they have to have a? Does everyone have to have like a deep knowledge on politics?
If they claim to, yes.
So everyone has to. So they're like, oh, you gotta have that, or you know, you
Okay,
can't.
first
have
of
an
all, Chris,
opinion.
Not everyone would have it, but
First of all, Chris, if you're living in a
they're losing an argument.
In an
if they don't.
ideal world, everyone should have.
yeah, if you're
Yeah,
living in a democratic society,
I mean, I
I'm not
think
saying.
that
Oh my God.
One person at a time.
I'm not saying we should. I agree with Rad. Ideally, I think everyone should know like in depth about politics. But I'm not saying like, oh, if you don't know that, if you don't know about it in depth, you cannot have your own opinion. That's what I'm saying.
okay, sure.
But the thing about SJWs, for if you base your political opinion about a minority group, then it doesn't make sense. For example, if like the entire left would now go against Trump because of the KKK, for example, because that's like a minority group that does some shit.
Yes.
KKK
Guys.
is a lot less prevalent than SJWs.
Well, I think
Yeah,
guys,
but the KKK
first, I need to say something. What would define as SJW? Anyways,
What?
like I had plenty of run-ins with people whining about stuff, but I'm not sure if they should be called an SJW or not.
Yeah,
It's those who like they're the most focused on identity politics, and they're most focused on deciding who is the victim and who is the aggressor, and punishing the aggressors regardless of whether or not they are actually responsible.
Okay.
I mean,
well,
I
can I say my
would-
opinion because my opinion
Okay,
is always the most
let
different one.
me say.
No, okay.
The real SJWs are such a tiny minority little group in the country that have been completely bastardized and shamed. They don't have any political power. So it's the most like hacky when you see someone.
Are you kidding?
No, yes, no, I'm not kidding at all. Please explain to me in recent time when there has been a policy
If you have
change.
any opinion that the average, okay, listen. So even if someone isn't an SJW, the SJW opinions are very prevalent. And I speak for America. I don't know about other countries, but I speak for America.
Okay.
In America, the opinions that most SJWs have, the average American has to a specific extent. It's just
Okay,
how they act on it.
But
That is
who
probably
gives a shit?
bit
It's
different.
such a
Okay,
non.
so this
Here,
gets into
hold on.
the-
Let's
Who gives a
let
shit? I'm
Tigerstar say
making
something because he
argument.
was gonna say
Let's don't
something.
talk over it, brother, okay?
See, this all gets into the problem of like you always hear the loudest minority the most, because like for example, you take a news network or a YouTube channel, they're going to try to find that one person who's having a really bad day and gets pressed on an issue they find important, and then they act like an SJW and they go, oh, look at all of these feminists, they're just yelling and hating men or something like that. And like, yeah, there are people out there who are like that, but you can't just, but then like the problem is like the backlash against it. Now anyone who's a feminist or anyone who has feminist views is going to be lumped into that same category. And so then that's how you get this idea of like, oh my gosh, SJWs are a plague upon the country and they're ruining everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
People
I gotta
always focus on
disagree.
the bad
I gotta
stuff.
disagree with
That's
the
why I
lumping
distrust
of.
the news sometimes. They make big deals about everything.
But like, for example, like I'm going to a college right now, and like, yeah, there are SJWs there, but like it's not like the cesspool of like endless protests and like burning down anything that they disagree with types like situation that everyone always claims it is.
Okay, I can agree with you on that. My college campus, I get along with people much more. I think people who go to these college campuses, the majority of them are reasonable people and they aren't crazy, especially when it comes to their politics. However, in normal life, when you're dealing with adults especially, or like, just not people on a college campus, because that's kind of different. But I had to disagree with the lumping of feminists together because I can clearly tell the difference between those who just want females to be equal to men and then those who want to discriminate against men simply for being men.
Well, yeah, and it's good, and it's good that you're able to tell the difference. But I'm saying that there are a lot of people who just lump them all together.
I mean, I
like,
know
it's
that.
like there are plenty of people or plenty of like conservative places you can go to that if you say you're a feminist, they'll just roll their eyes and immediately assume that you're the guy who just yells and hates men and like all that type of stuff.
Exactly, and
I think the problem is that so second wave feminists and third wave feminists. I don't know if I'm getting the numbers correctly now, but I think they're lumping together because we both call them feminists. I think you should like be able to call like the feminists that we have today, you know, the SJWs, like a different term than just
Feminazi.
feminist. Yeah, feminazis, like that way. I think that's a better way to say it,
Okay,
because like even in the beginning, I mean, I also call them feminists because everyone does it, but before I was like, they're not feminists, they're like more like feminazis, something like
Okay,
that.
hold on.
so this is
Wait.
important. They used to be called fem, but because they're such a small group and such an extreme case, they were called feminazis. But I think especially in 2018, there are so many more of them that they're not so much a minority.
No.
Yes, that is why feminist is
No, I'm
now
pretty
blending
sure
into
it's still a
feminazi.
minority. Because if you act like if you were able to pull every single American and you ask them, do you think that women should be treated legally and in social situations the same as men?
Okay, they're going to say yes. They're not going to admit that
yes.
they don't want men to be equal. However, in their practice, it will be different.
Okay, well,
People
that's
say one
just-
thing and then do another.
That's
true.
anecdotal. You can just say that. That's like, okay. Let me say though, like, it's an issue, but I think it's a bit of a false debate because it is a minority, and when you have, like, the opposite side, the opposite party in America has based their entire opposition campaign against this group and rigged themselves into office because of that, and then they enact these horrible policies taking away healthcare and locking up children in internment camps. So I'm saying that is the consequence of hyper-focusing on SJWs, is it blows it up like a fucking Mercator projection of SJWs, and now people are like, oh, those guys are crazy, I'm gonna vote for the conservatives, and then healthcare gets taken away and children are ripped from their parents and the wages go
like,
down.
I'm more concerned about I'm more concerned about the backlash against them, because like, yes, we need to criticize people who are too crazy, obviously, but the problem is the way it's been happening. You're having people like Sargon of Akkad, Thunderfoot, and people like that starting to recruit people into more like further extremist categories as they keep going, rather than just like the stance of like, now guys, calm down, let's have a civil debate about this type stance. Like they'll take it further. And that's why you're seeing the growth of groups like the alt-right and things like that that are with American politics, because the backlash against SJWs is causing a rise in their popularity.
When did Sargon of Akkad encourage people to join the alt-right?
Okay, it's not that he specifically encourages them. It's that the things he talks about. What do you mean? Oh, come on!
I've never seen.
You take something like, you know, like an actual SJW who's legitimately crazy. The rational response would be, okay, let's calm down. Let's talk about it. I agree with you, but let's talk about how we handle this. But then you have people like Sargon of Akkad who's like, these stupid feminists and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, but he's maybe how.
That type of rhetoric is going to radicalize people.
Okay, maybe
how it works.
Okay, maybe how he maybe how he formalizes and how he says it. Maybe it's a bit, you know, not that simple. Okay, first of all, I haven't seen many. I don't follow Sargon of Akkad that much. I've maybe seen like 3 or 4 of his videos. But I mean, first of all, how he speaks calmly, and this is what I've seen. Second, even if he speaks like how you say he does, he never actually condones or like encourages violence against SJWs. I've never seen that.
Specifically state it, but it's the things that he talks about. I'm not even like, I'm not making the. You're echoing, by the way.
I'm not even talking about encouraging violence. I'm talking about like bringing people into more radical viewpoint. Radical doesn't just mean causing violence.
So him criticizing SJWs is making people join the alt-right. That's basically what you're coming up with.
Yes, because he hyper-focuses
I think what Tigerstar wants to get across is rather the way how he criticizes SJWs and makes them.
Okay, well,
because people will hear him criticize SJWs, they'll agree with him, but then like the people who are like between the ages of like 13 and 18 who are still trying to form their own political viewpoints, they'll stay on his channel for that, and then when he does other videos of more extreme viewpoints, they'll agree with him because they agreed with the SJW thing and they're looking for a role model to agree with things. That's just what teenagers do.
Extreme viewpoints.
13 to 14-year-olds don't have the ability to vote, so like.
Okay, but they're gonna down the line.
Does their opinion matter until they are 18?
Yeah, it does. It does. When the opinions that you go.
So like, but Sargon, I will agree, is not the worst out of all of them. But what'll happen is that he's a part of this circle that other people will join. So once they subscribe to Sargon, they'll subscribe to people like Paul Joseph Watson, who think that apparently soy somehow makes guys gay, and then he also denies climate change. Like people like Paul Joseph Watson and Steven Crowder deny scientifically proven things like climate change.
Exactly. Then you got Ben Shapiro.
Like that's a problem.
Then you got Ben Shapiro, who's kind of been like rehabilitized as this cool, edgy millennial conservative, and he wrote an entire book about how porn is this evil scourge. That's beside the point. The point is, like for example, Sargon of Akkad the other day was hanging out with Paul Joseph Watson and doing live streams with him. So it's not like that like, oh no, Sargon's completely innocent. No, he is hanging out with these people and endorsing them essentially. And like when you're denying established science like climate change, that's one way you radicalize someone. And once you get them to think that every form of science and news that doesn't agree with them is fake or liberally biased, then suddenly they're too skeptic and they're more radicalized because they stay into that group. It happens. That's how the Nazis arose in the first place, because so you take the 1920s in Germany, there was the Red Scare in Germany, and that radicalized people more into the Nazi camp because they were legitimately scared of things like the Spartacus uprising.
Okay. Now let me...
The reason why the Nazis was rather because the democracy increasingly started to not act as a democracy. The National Socialists had like the most appealing viewpoints. That's why they came on top over other like authoritarian parties like the KPD or the DNVP.
Yes, because they were scared of the communists, and so whenever like the brown shirts did things like literally kill and bully people on the streets, they looked the other way because they thought that like the communists would worse and stuff like that. And so the point is, whenever you have a situation like that, you let them get away with more radical viewpoints because you're more scared of the other group, and that in turn radicalizes you yourself because you're willing to go along with that. And
let's go back. Let's just leave the Nazi German thing. I don't know how that.
Yeah, let's go back to SJW.
No.
I mean, this is all part of the discussion. It's about radicalization and how the hyper-focus on this creates that.
So there's hyper-focus, but then there's also like what's most prevalent to a specific person's life. Personally, despite the fact that you're saying, social justice warriors are just those who have social justice opinions. They're few and not too many. However, in my life specifically, I have known a shit ton. And I've dealt with them my entire life. So to specific people, and maybe even these YouTubers, is very prevalent in their life based on where they live or what community they live in.
Okay, well then...
So just to say, because proportionally to the United States, not the majority, can you discredit them?
Okay, well then, serious, then that just makes them a hack that can't see outside of their own bubble at the larger world.
Kind of the point, though, that I was trying to get to with the whole radical thing. The point is, the biggest danger of that is because of that anti-backlash movement, it's corrupting legitimate movements that I think we should all support. So regardless of what you think about, like, treating women and minorities equal, let's just use that as a general example of an idea. I think that's a good thing, that we should treat people equally based on the character of a person rather than traits that they were born with. But if you're having this backlash against SJWs, now there will be people who will legitimately, without being an SJW, try to promote something like equality, and they'll be mocked and they'll be dismissed as an SJW, and then like the next generation, as they're being raised in this, they won't take it seriously, and that won't progress us forward, and that's a problem.
Exactly.
And like this has happened in history before. Like when you study history, you realize that this type of thing has happened before.
Yeah, okay.
Like
I just gotta point out.
I blame sensationalism.
But like this is like the same thing as in like the 1960s. So for example, if you looked at polling of MLK's movement, people thought the exact same thing about MLK and his group as they do with Black Lives Matter. The exact same thing. They thought that they were too radical. They thought that it was going to hurt the movement more than all that stuff. And then top it all off, MLK was actually a social democrat. he was pretty far left, and they were using all this stuff against him, and now he's a hero. He has his own holiday, and everyone loves him. But at the time, he was treated essentially like the '60s equivalent of Black Lives Matter, and hippies were treated like the '60s equivalent of SJWs. Like, this has happened before, and like this is no different other than the topics that we're talking about.
To go back to what we were talking about, Cosmic,
exactly. I mean,
Only Bro said the opposite side of the spectrum, where the reason he doesn't care about SJWs is because there's none in his area. So you and Only Bro, you haven't had SJWs in your area, so that's why you don't care about SJWs. Okay. I think it's a very two-sided thing. And either side be justified, like, both sides be hacks.
Like, let's pretend that, like, you live in, like, a random county in North Dakota where it's only, like, 80 white people, and that's it. Like, that's how small it is. So you're looking at the news, and you see these issues on, like, you know, like, race inequality. It doesn't affect you because there's only 80 white people where you live, and you're not, like, leaving that area, so that's what you think. But then all of a sudden, all you see on places like YouTube is like, oh, these people are crazy. Well, I guess this whole movement is stupid.
Exactly, and I want to...
And then, like, okay, well, then that person is essentially, like...
Okay, well, using the example of the 80 white people, what about gender issues?
Okay, hold on, let me say this real quick. I believe Only Bro was actually... I think he was being... I could be wrong, but I think he was being sarcastic, first of all. And second of all, yeah, both those points are hacky points. To say the reason you think SJWs are a big issue is because they're specifically prevalent in your own life. That's a hacky point because on a grander scale, they mean practically nothing.
Well,
especially
also, Cosmic, what I'm saying is, I have a feeling you don't care about them because they're not prevalent in your life.
First of all, they are. There are plenty of people in my life that identify more with the SJWs than I do. My parents, for example, are to the left of me in a lot of that. So I deal with the same kind of points that they make with me that you do with the people in your life, Bob. So there are plenty of those people in my life. But
also in general, like, how many people in here are over 18?
Or over what?
I am exactly 18.
So I think all of us.
Are we all over 18?
I'm 18 in like a month.
So all of us in, like, the past few years who have seen, like, you know, lots of SJWs in their life, if we have, this was when we were all in middle school, high school, and early college, when people are essentially the least developed politically and the most. So that's also probably going to affect your bias.
It's also among adults, though.
I mean,
sure, but the point is, in terms of, like, actually seeing it in your life, like, if you're going to see, like, much more, like, you know, Tumblrites, high schoolers, and that's going to impact you more. Because, like, more people are going to be, like, more extreme when they're in their...
Okay, well, for me at least when I have experienced quote-unquote SJWs. Okay, first of all, about the whole thing, like, oh, it affects you more if you live in a town with a lot of them. My town is, like, one of the most reddest town in Sweden. That's where I live right now. That's like it's like 90% fucking social democrat. Anyways. But at least what I've seen a lot of teenagers who are, you know, quote unquote SJWs. But for me, at least, when it comes to a leftist bias, I see there way more in adults than I see in people in my age. I don't live in the U.S., so maybe it's different. I don't know.
Also, let's talk about Canada. How about the fact that Canada wants to have compelled speech as far as using transgender pronouns?
That's not that
is actually false.
Oh no,
that is actually false. So what people don't realize is that Canada has this thing called precedent, and so does the American law system. Whenever it says that, like, you can get locked up for hate speech doesn't just mean anything willy-nilly. This is something that has been established by the Canadian Supreme Court and Canadian law in cases in the past. So not anything can just get you sent to jail just for, like, quote, anti-LGBT hate speech.
Well, it's not whether or not it's enforced by law, whatever. But how about the fact that
what do you mean whatever? That's the whole.
It's such a popular opinion in Canada that should be the precedent. Doesn't that show the prevalence of the social justice?
Yeah, but, like, so I feel like because, like, Canadian definition of hate speech by their law would be something like, you are not allowed to shop here because you're LGBT, or I'm going to actively impede what you're doing because you're LGBT. So that type of thing, that already applies to, like, being a racial minority, to being male or female or something like that. And that what they did was they updated it to reflect the modern times to include that. That is not a radical opinion to say that you shouldn't like actively like prevent people from going about their business when they're not hurting anyone. That is not a radical thing to support.
What do you mean going about their business?
Like I just told you. So like for example,
So denying them service.
Like denying them service.
You can't do that. But I'm talking about the fact that you have to say, you know.
That's not what the law says. That's not what the law. No, it's not
what the law says, Bob. That's what Jordan Peterson wants you to think.
Well, it depends what you mean by law and what it said. But like, you actually look at the Canadian law. It's just updating previous hate speech rules that have been in place for decades. By the way, this is nothing new, and just said, "Oh yeah, by the way, this includes discriminating people based on LGBT." So it's not that you get sent to jail for refusing to other people's genders. This would be like if a person said like, third gender people are not allowed to shop here and will be kicked out of this. Like you can't do like that. That's all the law.
Mysterious. Well, what's the law called if you know the name? Mysterious.
I do not remember the number.
Okay, well then I can.
And also, since the law is based on precedent, that means that like you have to go based on past events on what you would jail someone. And the last person who got jailed over hate speech in Canada, did so because they directly threatened the life of a minority in an a email like to the person like saying I'm going to go to you and I'm going to leave you, and that person was jailed. So based on that precedent, no one is going to go to jail for refusing to say a pronoun. They're going to go to jail if they directly threaten someone. Hey, I'm going to go to your house and hang you because you're a faggot or something like that. They say something like hate like that. That is what will send them to jail. And obviously threatening to lynch people is something that you should probably be sent to jail for. And that's hardly a radical thing to support. But thanks to people like Jordan Peterson who are misinterpreting the law, they're acting like, oh, if I have a criticism against them, I'm going to be sent to jail.
But if he got it wrong, why did no one correct him? Why did no one be like, they did
correct him? Everyone tries to correct him, but then his mates will defend him. Oh, you're just taking him out of context.
I did not.
This is my favorite episode.
I just want to note one thing. It might be because most at least in Germany, most Twitter and Facebook accounts that are like to the right block everyone who criticizes them under their posts.
Oh yeah.
Maybe,
I don't know whether it's like the same in America, but in Germany, in like the right wing, the Nazis, the AfD and such, it's very much a thing.
But every time, for example, I've criticized Jordan Peterson, I've been told that I took it out of context. And then when I post the entire video and point out to the part where he said it and said, no, it still means what I said it meant. It meant what I said it meant. And here's the video. They'll say, well, have you read all 5 of his books and seen like his entire series? Well, of course not. Well, then you can't criticize him. It's like, and that happens every single time with Jordan Peterson. Like, for example, my biggest criticism with Jordan Peterson is that he's blaming everything. Here, let me get my Pearson voice. Well, everything's the fault of leftist, postmodern, neo-cultural Marxists. And ignoring the fact that cultural Marxist is the play off of cultural Bolshevism, which was used by the Nazis to promote a Jewish conspiracy. That's beside the point. If you get past that, that makes no sense. Anyone who knows what postmodernism is at all, postmodernism 101, you believe that there's no overarching narrative to the world. That's what postmodernism is. And that's why, you have all this abstract art, because they believe that art doesn't have to mean anything. It can mean whatever you want it to mean because there's no blah, blah, blah. That's postmodernism. What is the very first thing that Marxism promotes? An overall arching narrative to the world of class warfare. So, postmodern neo-cultural Marxism, that does not make sense. Those literally contradict each other. But because Jordan Peterson is a professor and he's going around saying that in classrooms, they act like he's smart and knows what he's talking about.
Oh, this guy knows what he's talking about.
Cosmic, what? Are you going crazy?
I am. I'm in a constant state of insanity, Chris.
Cosmic, this is actually getting people in the comment section to speak.
Cosmic, can't you debate more like Tigerstar? I mean, you say Sorgan of a card how he says something he makes people join the alt-right, but I mean, Cosmic, how you say things aren't exactly calm either, in my opinion.
Yeah, Chris, but hold on, Chris. But is he a political YouTuber though?
Yeah, first of all, I'm
no.
not. And
Yeah, these are just his opinions as like an individual person.
I mean,
Sargon of Akkad is actively like running a political YouTube channel.
He only has almost 7 subscribers.
exactly, and also Chris, I'm not
Does he make
criticizing.
political videos on his channel? No, he doesn't.
Like I say, I'm not criticizing Sargon of Akkad's. I'm not criticizing Sargon of Akkad's manner of speech. He can say what he wants as loudly and bombastic or as calm as he wants. I'm criticizing the substance of what he says. I think the substance, the ridiculous, hacky, stupid, mind-bogglingly dumb substance of what he says is what converts people to the alt-right.
He never reads. Like half of the time that like he'll like point out the problems of like a quote SJW study, and you actually go to the study, it doesn't do what he says it does.
Okay, to be honest, if you disagree or agree with Sargon of Akkad, that's up to you. To be honest, even I think I don't know. He said, but what I thought was I thought you said was completely crazy that people will join the alt-right because of this. If anything, if they look up to him and they want to like be like him or whatever, like
that's what I said.
12-year-old, these 12-year-old, 13-year-old, then will probably join the. Well, they'll probably join. I don't know. Probably join UKIP or some other right-wing populist party because that's what actually Sargon of Akkad is.
What I'm saying. They'll watch him and want to be like him, and they'll look up to him. And then when they see that he's literally hanging out with people like climate change deniers, like Paul Joseph Watson, they'll think, "Oh, this guy is cool," and then they'll join Paul Joseph Watson circle, and then they'll get into Stefan Molyneux circle, and they'll get into all these people's circles, and that's how they get.
Well, okay. First of all, okay. So you're saying you're saying Akkad can say anti-SJW stuff because children are watching. How would you?
I never said that. I'm just saying that's what happens. He can say whatever the hell he wants.
That's what happens. Okay, then tell me how you want to fix this then. And doesn't that apply for people on the far left too? When they say stuff that doesn't match children.
No, this happens on the left too. I'm not dismissing that. I'm just saying that's how people get radicalized. That's
exactly
to do is you need to like educate people from a younger age to always question what they're being told and to always research things for themselves, and they need to be taught ways to find out what information is true and what isn't through legitimate research methods.
So you want Sargon of Akkad to tell them, okay, guys, remember, take this with a pinch of salt, guys.
Yes!
Don't take this too seriously.
That's what he should say.
No, Sargon.
But no one says
Sargon
that.
doesn't need to say that. I'm saying that children need to be educated better in that sense.
And even the craziest statement you did after that was like, "Oh, this is just like Nazi Germany." Okay, if people actually look up to like Sargon of Akkad or something like that, and they want to be like him, sure. I mean, I agree they should not only watch Sargon of Akkad or Paul Joseph Watson or even worse, Alex Jones, but even so, even if they did look up to him, they wouldn't join the alt-right. Okay, maybe some will, but they're like a very small minority. If they actually, maybe they would join UKIP, or depending if they're in the US, maybe they would join the Republican Party. Because,
hold on, Chris. I think you're getting hyper focused on like the logistics. Like it's not. When you say, "Oh, they'll defect to the alt-right," it doesn't mean.
I mean, no. If you want to argue if Sargon of Akkad is what he's saying is stupid or not, I can gladly argue about that as well. But right now, we're arguing about other stuff that Emperor Tigerstar said before.
But I mean,
I know that
if you look at for example, the Charlottesville thing that happened, you had a literal neo-Nazi rally that happened in the United States in 2017. That
resulted in the death of someone.
And you're linking that with Sargon of Akkad.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying that this is an example on how people have been radicalized, and that Sargon is an example of a gateway into that. I'm not saying that Sargon is to blame for everything. I'm just using him as a random example on how people start to get hooked, because Sargon hangs out with people like Paul Joseph Watson. Paul Joseph Watson is actively on Alex Jones's.
Yeah, I know.
And you go on that chain. Some people. I'm not saying everyone. I'm saying several people will get radicalized.
No, not several people. Very few people.
Yes,
very few people.
They must see how big that rally was. They must be. That rally had over 100 people, and those were people in one state.
If those people actually, you're saying if the people are very or that impressionable, they must be very, very young. And last I saw, I didn't.
They're either young or stupid.
Chris, do you see the footage of the Trump rallies?
I can name you several.
Easily.
For fuck's sakes, I want to talk.
I live in a very, very Republican area, And I can tell you for a fact that, oh my gosh, a lot of people are really that.
Well, I live in a very, very fucking.
It's not the same as
I'm
the
saying
United
in
States.
America. So
Sweden
I
is
live.
not the same as the United States.
I live.
I live in a very democratic area.
What the fuck
So
is that? What is
that also goes
supposed to
back to the
mean?
point of where you
No,
grow
no.
up and kind of affects your
yeah.
views.
People like to
okay.
rebel against the majority.
Tigerstar is on the side of the fact that there's not that many SJWs, and he lives in a very Republican area. That also confirms my point that where you grow up in affects your opinion on it.
Okay, Bob.
No, I'm also on a
Mysterious, hold
college
on.
campus.
Like,
That was
it's
the point.
it's different though
And-
because you can actually
I
look
just
at
blame
you
sensationalism.
can look at the national policy station, which actually getting passed through by our elected representatives to see how much this prevails on a nationwide scale, and also polls are a thing too. So, please tell me, what is the most recent piece of legislation pushed through by the SJW
Okay,
legislators?
so there's another thing. You can just say because the legislation doesn't reflect the views of a lot of people, it doesn't matter. But have you looked at any media lately? And I'm not just talking about the news. I'm not just talking about social media.
I just want to say
What
one
you're
thing
talking
that we
about
have
is
been
that
like on
there's
this
a black
topic
person
for
in
at
Star
least like
Wars.
a half
That's
an
what you're
hour,
saying.
and we need to stop. I think
What'd you say?
You're saying
we
what
have
you're
been on
talking
this
about is
topic
that
for
there's
far too long.
No, not Rat. What'd you say, Cosmic?
I'm saying, so what you're saying is that there was a black guy in Star Wars. That's essentially what your point is.
What?
Well,
What?
You're saying not only the news.
Oh,
You
I
mean
remember.
like-
I remember
what?
when
Like
the
Mace
community
Windu?
got so mad about that.
Oh,
They're like, oh my gosh, Star Wars has a female and a black lead. This is SJWs ruining because previous Star Wars movies have never had female or black leads, like Princess Leia or Lando Calrissian.
Okay, I don't know what that has to do with anything.
What
That's,
are you?
that's what that community has been like arguing about.
But
Like,
we're not talking about that. Mysterious was about
Okay, I'm
something
genuinely
else. I don't know when
curious
you
what
brought
you-
up
oh, okay,
Star
hold
Wars
on.
and
First of all, let me explain why I brought that up, because me and him have had that debate tons of times, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's what he was trying to get
The
across.
mainstream media opinions are all very left.
no,
No, not at all.
are
Please
not.
tell
Unless
me.
you go
on
to
CN
specific
no, no, no.
sources, such as like Fox and stuff like that.
All right,
No,
Bob, tell me, when was the
MSNBC
last time you saw
is
someone on
not-
CNN?
MSNBC is not left. Like, for example, you look at the way that they treated Bernie Sanders compared to Hillary Clinton, they're not left. They are
Exactly.
corporatist, and they are definitely Clintonite, or like centrist, but they are not left, because they would actively bash things like universal health care, left and right. That is not a leftist position. You can certainly say that they're to the left of Fox News, and I would agree with you there, because Fox is right, but they are not leftist. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Yeah,
there's the news then. What about talk shows? What's the general trend for them?
Hacky,
I mean, it
Russia,
depends on the
like,
talk show.
establishment centrist Democrats. There's no, like, these aren't hyper left organizations. When was the last time Jimmy Fallon talked about universal health care? No, he talked
And
about
literally, Jimmy Kimmel criticized liberals last night. He's not far left. I guess the only one that you have is, I guess, Stephen Colbert. But even then, like, okay, that's one. And these are also late night talk shows. These aren't like institutions that are controlling the fabric of our government. These are late night talk shows with hosts with their. Fox has these shows too that reflect their opinion.
this is
That
kind of
happened.
this is kind of like outside of the argument, but I can't believe you Americans have like biased news channels. I mean, not even
I know it's a
Sweden.
problem.
And like, even if it's right or left, I can't believe you. That's so stupid.
It's
in my
because
opinion.
we're so skeptical of
Well,
having, like,
Well,
the
many
beef.
states have that too, but just with a different media outlet. For example, in Germany, we have that with newspapers and magazines.
Well, yeah, man, newspapers and magazines. Well,
They are still read
Okay.
by many people, especially because a lot of them also now have online services.
okay. Well, I'm talking about main news channels. There's always gonna be someone who starts a new newspaper who like says, who has a biased view. But I'm talking about main news channels like Fox or CNN. I mean, here
Okay,
in Sweden at least.
guys,
I mean, I know how we.
I'm gonna have to intervene as the executive host, man.
Could I at least finish my sentence?
Okay, finish your sentence.
It's just like 10 words left. Can you just let me finish?
Okay, go ahead.
As I was saying, I mean, even here in Sweden, people talk like, "Oh, Sweden is so SJW like that." I mean, even here in Sweden, our like main news channels are still, pretty unbiased, in my opinion, at least.
And that's because, like America, we've been historically skeptical of something like the BBC or a government-funded news network because we're worried that it's going to be like a government propaganda machine. And so, as a result, all of our news channels are essentially owned by corporations, and they always have been. So, because those can be bought out, they're always going to inevitably be politically biased.
Okay, well,
Exactly.
that's all I wanted to say.
So, that was fun, and I'm gonna, as the host,
And just for the record, I love arguing,
Oh,
so
yeah.
I don't usually like get mad at people.
No,
I just enjoy arguing.
Yeah, me neither.
Chris, you don't usually get mad at
love this
people.
I mean, I get mad, but it's not like I take it personally. It's like I have
Yeah,
something
exactly. It's not a personal
against
thing.
Tigers or
That's
Cosmic.
my favorite thing about this show is we're able to scream and yell at each other and just go home at the end. It's like it's fun. It's like I love it. It's the best. And I gotta say that
Around.
debate.
Good practice for bashing Thash.
Okay.
Exactly.
And also, I just gotta say that the reason I focus so much on society and like media as a whole is because, you know, you're so focused on institution and legislation. However, it's so hard for anything to actually get through these days with split Congress and like identity politics. So just focusing on society and wanting to change society as a whole seems to prove an easier alternative these days.
I want to implement a new rule that all congressmen should be below the age of 60 because it's not their future anymore.
I agree.
That's a great
Wow.
one, actually. How about 16-year-olds can vote? For God's sakes, it's the
No,
young people.
no.
No. I think so.
No.
Wait,
Yes.
what?
No, I think so. They do that in other countries.
I'll
I
actually
will agree
disagree
with
with.
All right. Well, it looks
will
like
disagree with
Tigerstar and
that.
I
I
finally
feel like
found a
people-
disagreement.
People's gonna vote more edgy.
Yeah, I know, right? Like we
I feel like
we just,
you should be 18 because you should formulate your political opinions.
we just talk. That continue.
Yeah, because like I changed tremendously between 16 and 18, and a
Yeah.
lot of people. And
Okay,
like,
that's true.
there's
People-
the reason why there's a joke that most people who are fascist or communist will leave those movements before they're 18, because it's kind of true. Because most people go through a quote edgy political opinion like whenever they're a teenager. So I feel like you need to vote when you're 18.
Yeah, Cosmic. I mean, I don't know how it
Blame
is for all schools.
sensationalism for all our problems.
I don't know how
That
it is
is
for
a
all
huge
schools, but in my school, we didn't actually learn about American government until senior year, which is when you
Yeah.
are
Well, that's
18.
a
So
precedent.
until you actually learn about government, you shouldn't be voting.
And
Alright, well,
that
then
is
that can
also.
be
I learned
changed.
about government when I was like in actually 8th
Okay,
grade.
but
What are you
full-on
doing?
U.S. government, not
Yeah,
like
there
just
there
a
needs
basis.
to be a civics
Okay,
course
9th grade.
every single year of middle school and high school. No,
To be honest,
I don't know.
what I found EmperorTigerstar saying was quite hilarious because what he said implies to me, but literally exactly opposite. It said like, oh, people who usually are fascists usually
guess-
turn and they become 18. Well, for me, I used to be like a socialist and a national Bolshevik, and then I turned.
Well, Chris,
So-
we got plenty of years for you to de-edgify your shitty political
Mm.
ideology.
I will see about that.
Anyways, so we're gonna move on. I gotta say that was great. That was some of the most lively debate we've had on the show in a while, and I'm gonna use my executive hosting power to do something that we've never done. Because that topic went on for so long, we are going to skip past all of the following topics and just go straight to the Q&A because we've been.
Yeah, well, I have to go now. So.
And Rat has to go because we've already like done the entire length of a show. So Mindria, if you want to hop in here and take his place,
Yeah, well,
that
school
would
is
be
starting
really
tomorrow. I
great.
need to wake up early, so.
Wait, school starts for you tomorrow?
What?
Yes.
that's
Jesus.
really early.
It's
Jesus.
just like
Well,
it's just like
some holidays for me started like at the start of June, and we only have 6 weeks, opposed to the 2 months that you have. in the US.
Ouch.
Damn.
that's stupid.
But therefore we have stuff like autumn and Easter holidays.
All right, well, nighty night, Rat.
Nighty
Well,
night,
I'm still
Rat.
going
Thanks
to
for
do,
coming
like,
on the
pack-
show.
I still
you're
have to
still-
pack stuff and such, but then yeah.
Goodbye, Rat. We'll miss you. Probably.
I'm not going to die. Count on me.
Yeah.
We'll see you soon. I'll,
Well, you're
I'll
going
make
to
sure.
school.
I'll make sure the MM script works out well in your.
Well, you're going to
Yeah,
school,
we-
Rat. What do you think?
What?
Are you going to school, Rat? What do you think?
I don't want to. It's like.
I know that. I know. That's why I say good luck, Matt. Rat. We'll miss you.
But first of all, because it's like the first year at high school, and high school is just tedious.
We'll pray for you, Rat.
We'll pray for you.
You'll be in all
Thank
our
you,
hearts, Rat.
So, goodbye.
Bye, Rat.
We lost a great soldier.
I don't know why we had such a dramatic exit for him. Like that was.
Did any of you see what Mindria said when he came into chat? He's like, it's a shit show because we're having political debate.
Yeah,
I'm like, well, better than most podcasts or some podcasts.
Seriously, what is with the people who, whenever we have political debate, like Mindria and Viper?
I mean,
they always criticize whenever we have political discussion.
Look at the chat. Like, look at the chat. I mean, we're actually inspiring people to talk. Actually,
I think just this is the main difference.
To talk. In most of our podcasts, they just do like, you are gay.
Yeah, this is the main difference, honestly.
You are gay.
I'm not trying to. I'm not meaning to.
Chris is a bitch.
I'm not meaning to throw any shade. Yeah, that happens.
EmperorTigerstar is best. Everyone else sucks. Why are they all here?
Yeah, and I think that's really the main difference between when I host and Viper hosts. I'm not throwing shade at Viper, not at all. But,
wow.
No. I don't mean that in a bad way.
Well, half of these people are on. Half of these people are actually on Viper's podcast, so but they're actually engaging.
I'm not saying that in a bad way at all. I'm just saying, you know, when I host, it's a bit more of a free-form discussion sort of deal, and you know, that leads to, you know, engaging conversations, and we don't necessarily need to hyper-focus on, guys, we got to make sure we get through all the topics and talk about all mapping. I'm a mapper. So, yeah. That probably sounded a lot more aggressive than I meant it to. But yeah, nothing against Mike. Anyway, so moving on. Here we are in the free-for-all Q&A. So go ahead and ask us about anything you want, mapping, politics, yada yada yada.
Charles said,
or relationship advice. You can still ask me about it.
Charles said, "What is y'all a professional political opinion on the future of American polarization? How bad will it get? Does civil war seem more and more inevitable?"
I don't think there will be a civil war.
I don't think there will be a civil war.
I could be wrong, but I really don't think so.
However,
we've seen worse days.
And polarization is terrible right now. Identity politics are at its worst.
I think what's going to happen is I think both parties are going to like completely fall apart and they're going to get replaced.
I disagree with that.
There's going to be like
I think that there's going to be change to each of the parties at least. We can all agree with that.
There will definitely be change.
Maybe it'll be the same parties but a different change, because like this happens like every like roughly 50 years. So like for example, like if you look in your history, like, you know, you have like Jackson, who formed like the Democrats, and then like at the end of those 50 years Buchanan's presidency failed, and then you had the rise of Abraham Lincoln, which completely changed the game of politics. Then like, you know, you go into the progressive movement under Teddy Roosevelt, which reset everything. Then you go into the New Deal coalition under FDR, which reset everything. And then you had like the Southern strategy and like the move of Republicans towards conservatism under Reagan that reset everything. Like this is like a normal cycle that happens, and usually right before that there's a massive change, there's always like high polarization.
Also, I haven't been keeping up to date as far as like the Civil War goes, but like, so whereas the first American Civil War was basically North versus South, what would it be like if there was a Civil War today?
I think if there would be a Civil War, yeah, it wouldn't be like a traditional kind of, you know, this part of the nation rebels against the other. I think it would
because we're so connected, it would just be everywhere.
It would be a lot of domestic infighting, and it would be
it's just riots in the streets.
It would be more of a series of civil unrest than it would be than like a traditional Civil War.
You guys heard of the generational theory, like a stress how, right? The Salem cycles.
No.
What?
You guys heard of the Salem cycle?
I have not.
I haven't.
No. Okay. So basically, according to their theory, there's gonna like it's all divided up in generations, and like every generation has their own thing. Like there's a cycle here. There's called the high cycle. Which basically starts with the high cycle. Like institutions are strong. Something like that. It's like the post-World War II, and then there's the awakening. Basically, like people are like, it's like the hippie movement in the '60s after World War II, and the unraveling, which basically like the '80s up to like the Bush era or something like that. Like after the awakening, the unraveling to where institutions become like mistrusted or something like that, and then after that, there's crisis, which means like everything falls apart and stuff. Which cycles back to the high stage. Basically, there'll be a new order, social order, or something like that, and then it starts all over again.
Okay.
Yeah. I just realized
right now we're in the quote unquote crisis stage. according to the theory.
Quick.
I just realized
We got
that
a quick
I'm the
question
only.
from Ain. Could you describe your experience making episode 3 of the show? It was very intense. It was pretty much just a year of constant self-doubt and anxiety. But you know, it came out with a pretty damn good video that I'm very proud of.
Was it constant working, or was it very on and off?
It was very on and off. When I was working hard, and I would work literally. I'd wake up, stay up for like 20 hours, and go to bed. But then that would be preceded by a month or two of just because you know I have anxiety, so it's just a month or two of I can't do anything, I'm useless, and that always sucks. So it was hard. But I had a lot of people that helped me through
Chris,
it
you were
just
saying
emotionally and the thing, and I wasn't finished, and you just... Okay, go ahead.
No,
you interrupted him, so...
No, I was doing a quick comment that now that Rat left, I'm the only European here, and when you talk about American politics, I feel I know nothing what you're saying.
Aww.
Yeah, we're all done with that. Use Mapping says, Emperor Tigerstar, how do you respond to complaints of your map quality?
I don't get very many, so...
Okay,
I feel like he's throwing shade. All right, how would you respond?
It depends. I mean, if it's a constructive criticism, yeah, then I'll take that into mind. But if you know, if there's like, map sucks. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, I have the same stance on that, and I think Antarctica just kind of built off of that. Well, actually, I think Chris wants to say something.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I like your channel, but I think Galactic Penguins maps are better. No offense.
Shame.
Whoa. Whoa! You just you just said that. Whoa. Okay. Whoa.
Okay. Can we not?
Janlin Mapper says, Chris, would you support an Italian exit of the European Union?
Okay. If you would have asked me 1 year ago, I would have been like, yes, of course I would. But I mean, okay. First of all, exit of the euro, like 100% yes. I mean, I'm not saying it would be an easy thing to do for Italy to change back to like the lira, because that would be not an easy challenge. It's not that easy, especially now that the Italians have been using euro. Wait, whose mic is mysterious? Your mic.
It's mysterious. It flares up every once in a while.
Okay. As I was saying, like, you know, when a country uses a currency for a while, it's kind of hard to change back to it. But I think it would have caused some like short-term, not disasters, but like setbacks. But I think it would be, I think it should change back to the lira. In a long term, it would be amazing for the Italian nation. But leaving the European Union, okay, first of all, I think right now, as it is, I would not be against leaving the EU, but I would prefer just the EU changing in itself, because a union where all European nations cooperate, I'm nothing against that. But how the EU works right now, I don't like it. So either the EU changes, or yes, I would like to leave the EU.
Change the EU.
We got a question. Question for Tigerstar from. Hold on, I think I lost it. Okay, from Tiger of Epicness. Okay, question for Tigerstar: have you ever thought about promoting mapping on your channel?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Cosmic, what criticisms do you have of your most recent episode?
Yeah, I was gonna address that. Whoever's typing, mute your mic when you type, because that's loud.
I don't know. Would you know that? I mean, you just uploaded it.
Oh no. Well, a lot of that episode has been written for like a year, and I've been just mulling over the script. So, my personal criticisms, I think. Sometimes it gets a little too monologue-y. I try my best to break that up with, you know, more back-and-forth dialogue segments with characters. I think that's probably my biggest issue right now, is there's a lot of moments where characters will just sort of go on long monologues just on their own, and then another character will be like, will say that character's name with a ... which I got to get away from saying the character's name while the character is saying something sad, because that's like that's an anime writing thing. Why the hell am I doing that? I really hate that. And yeah, I know the map is a little is a little but I personally don't plan on ever upgrading to something that is, you know, more traditional to how it is now. I might update it eventually. I don't want anyone to get misconstrued there. You know, I might add some shading and stuff like that.
No, but your mapping is so unique compared to other ones.
That's true.
You're still like you're the link to the past.
Well, maybe I don't want to be the Link to the Past.
Back to the past, like Samurai Jack.
Exactly.
No offense, Cosmic. I'm not saying bad friend. You son of a Cosmic. I'm not saying your mapping is bad, but
wow.
One of your specialties is that you still have that old, kind of old.
I guess, but I mean,
old...
I'm not losing too much of my unique originality because I break up the episode with the blob in art areas, so that's already pretty unique to me. So because I think I'm like the only that happens a lot in country ball mapping. It'll break away to animation of country balls in any given scene, but I think I'm the only person, as far as I know, that's doing that right now in the traditional blob format. So I don't know if I don't think I'd lose too much originality if I just updated the map a little bit.
Only Bro says, Cosmic, when is episode 2 of Screamfest going to happen?
Ah, yes. Come on, Cosmic, answer him.
Yeah, okay.
Answer him!
Okay, now that Alternate Future USA 3 is done, Screamfest will come soon. I have a couple really short videos that I want to get out before that, but that really shouldn't take me that long at all. And I mean that this time because it's not a 2-hour fucking big giant magnum opus like Alternate Future USA was. It's just
the timing of Screamfest is based on when you upload your other videos.
I mean, kind of, because you don't want to, when you're mapping, you don't want to have too much. Look, this is a mistake that I had to learn the hard way. Is you really don't want to just have podcasts over and over again.
Well, having Screamfest is a bit different from having MapperCast, because MapperCast is a weekly thing, whereas Screamfest is like a special.
I know, but Screamfest, it's still a podcast, so I don't want to just. I don't want a podcast. Oh, then another podcast, and people are going to start be like, "Oh, look, Cosmic's getting set in his old ways."
If it was 2 MapperCasts, yeah, that's one thing. But I don't think this matters. I think you're looking into it too much.
I don't think so. I mean, people are not everyone here is subscribed for the podcast. It's for like dedicated people. So I mean, we're going to do it. It's going to be happening soon. Definitely within like probably definitely within the month. Don't get worried about that. It's going to come. Just want to get some real videos out first. They're already halfway done, so. All right, question for Tigerstar. Do you support the deal between Europe, Russia, China, until a few months ago, Iran, about the whole nuke thing?
The Iran nuclear deal?
No.
I think there was a deal between Europe, Russia, and China. Oh, yeah, the
What's it
Iran.
called?
He means the Iran nuclear deal.
Oh, he does?
Does he?
Yeah.
He does?
He does? It says he doesn't really specify.
Well, it says up until a few months ago, the USA, meaning the USA.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I always prefer dialogue, so yeah, and I know that there was like controversy about like how we were like giving the money or something. What most people don't realize is that was to make up from the money that we essentially took from them with years of sanctions. So I didn't find any controversy in that personally, and Iran was actually doing a good job in keeping up its end of the bargain. And my main worry about this is with the U.S. pulling out, that gives a signal to other countries, don't trust the United States. So next time we do a dialogue type thing, why would they believe us? And I feel like that's going to be a problem because you need to like keep up your end of the bargain when you make a diplomatic deal to do. And so it's unfortunate that we left.
Okay. Epic K says.
You go.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, well, we'll do. I'm just one quick one before that. For me personally, I'll get this out like quick. God damn it! This. Hold on. I have like a desk toy that keeps making noise. Okay. Where'd it go? I lost it. Okay. If you do make an episode 4, do you think Las Vegas will be in much, or is this story finished? Well, none of their stories are finished until either they die or the show is finished. So, Las Vegas. Well, I might not have a specific plot lined out for him right now. They're definitely, he'll come into play in some way because he's still there. Can't just ignore him.
Epic K says, question for everyone. Do you think nations should focus more on foreign or domestic issues?
Both.
I think it depends on what the nation is.
Yeah, I was gonna say that depends on the nation is, but
because like United States, for example,
I think it should prioritize on domestic, but it should not. It's not. That doesn't mean it should not. Care about foreign. But
it always like a 60-40 split.
Yeah. It always depends on how the nation is, what the nation's priorities already are. Like, for example, the United States needs to focus much more inward, and but then there are other nations.
Wait, what?
You cut out.
Yeah, it cut off. Needs to focus more on what?
Needs to focus much more inward, domestically, not outward.
Yeah.
Well, there are other nations that have their shit together that definitely, you know, they might have a surplus of funds and they can go focus on foreign aid and yada yada, and then that's for them, but not for us.
Another thing I agree with Cosmic right there.
Yeah.
Cosmic,
we need to rebuild our buildings and highways.
Exactly. You know, we have our
We
infrastructure.
should, yeah, our infrastructure is
Gets a
basically
grade
like
D+.
there's so many abandoned buildings and stuff on the road. Sometimes when I drive by from to a city or something like that, I see like a gas station boarded up or something like once or twice while I'm on the road.
Yeah, that's another reason it angers me so much that, you know, you're echoing, Chris. In a nation where infrastructure graded D+, worst healthcare system in the developed world, the worst place,
I think if
the worst
someday
place
if
to raise a child in the modern world. Chris, you're still echoing.
I think someday if a politician raises up about the infrastructure, I think they would get a pretty good stance on the issue.
Yeah.
Sure.
And often what'll happen is like, we don't have the money for it, and then they'll just give more tax cuts and then spend like another $1 trillion on bombing the Middle East.
Exactly.
Oh, we don't have money for it? Wow.
That's what I was about to say, you know, like we have all those issues with our nation, and then we just passed a $717 billion defense budget. Like, swimmingly, too. Only, I think, around, like, 10 or 11 senators voted no. So, when you got shit like that going on, yeah, we definitely need to focus domestically.
Tigerstar. Well, Tigerstar, what career are you planning to go into?
I was originally going to, like, try to aim to be, like, a high school history teacher, but I recently changed, and now I'm kind of more looking for, like, a professorship route. But I also kind of have thought about writing history books for kids.
That's cool.
Well, I think after you made that horrible history books, I think you want to. I think that was maybe what changed your mind.
Would you ever go into politics someday? I don't know.
Maybe, but I feel like if I ran for president, I would be shot before my term is over. So maybe I'll do it when like I have nothing left in life.
Then you're old. You'll probably about to retire. You can just retire to politics. I don't know.
Heck no, I'll do it one.
To clarify for Majestics, I meant foreign aid, not foreign intervention. And
do you think mapping is in a state of decline?
We talked about this so many times, and well, it's something that has to be updated. I'll say what Ain says. It's not in decline, but rather it's still growing, but it's still in the state of, let's say, fragmentation, as he says.
Look, this is you are literally never gonna hear that kind of talk stop, because mapping has a very short generational cycle. It's like people come, they map for maybe a year and a half, and then they quit. Because, I don't know, they didn't care enough. That happens. And every time a previous generation dies out, they don't go quiet. They go kicking and screaming. They yell, oh, mapping is dying. It's not dying. Okay, it's just sometimes these generational cycles come, and it's your choice whether you want to quit or not. So don't just quit in a fervor and be, oh, we're all dying, there's no point to anything anymore. You're creating the rift if you do that.
In my opinion, those who say mapping is dying are probably dying themselves. They're in the process of dying themselves because they're not optimistic enough.
I'm very active.
So, I mean, I don't know, I can't fully speak for it, but I think what I see is there's still a lot of mapping channels and a lot of small mapping channels and new mapping channels that are popping up. But I think the mapping community is declining, though. I think like its sense of community and like everyone.
Fragmentation.
I definitely agree with that.
The community is definitely a lot lesser.
Definitely.
A lot less friendly.
If you compare the state of mapping now to the state of the Roman Empire in the 300s, you will know that it's exactly the same.
Hey, you say that like
joking.
comparing history and YouTube is.
She's joking. He's joking.
I know. I was gonna make a point. Whatever. Okay, quick question. Will there be... Okay, put your gun down, Batran. Christ. Cosmic, will there be a director's commentary on Office 3? Probably. Then we got...
So you're gonna sit there for 2 hours and watch
I know it'll have to be a two-parter. I mean, there's directors' commentaries on movies, and if they can sit down for 2 hours, I can sit down for 2 hours.
Movies are a bit different than mapping videos.
I still disagree with that.
Okay.
This one's interesting. Which state do y'all see as rising to become the next economic giant in the United States after the decline of California? Is California in decline? Am I unaware of this?
I think it is because California by itself is still the 10th largest economy in the world.
Yeah, that's not true.
I don't know what.
I have no idea what they're talking. They just recently became the.
If California declines as an economic power base for the United States, then New York's probably gonna take its place.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I watch Brain
Hold on,
for breakfast.
I want to say something real quick. We got a question from Antarctica Mapping that I think he's new to MapperCast. Do you often review other Mapper series? Yes. At the end of every MapperCast, we do a quiz, and the chat participates. Whoever wins the quiz, we will review your episode or your show on the next episode. So that's what we do. MapperCast. What podcasts do you guys listen to?
Joe Rogan.
So us alt-right
Ourselves, the only podcast.
Kidding.
The only MapperCast I know is this.
I listen to Secular Talk, the Turkeys, Humanist Report. Sometimes Joe Rogan.
Oh God!
Of course he does.
Humanist Report.
I bet you watch yogurt, chunky yogurt.
Okay, Batran. What?
What?
I bet you watch chunky yogurt.
Sent yogurt, yeah, Young Turks.
Oh, okay, funny.
Jank Uyghur.
Think whatever.
My favorite's probably
yogurt.
My favorite's probably
also someone says
favorite's probably Secular Talk. I listen to that religiously. I used to listen to the H3 podcast, but Ethan just got way too like right-wing hacky for me, so I had to get out of there.
Of course he did.
Their amount of interesting guests on the show have declined a lot.
Yeah, and they went from like having iDubbbz and actual interesting guests to like Ninja and some random guy who was like in a Vine.
Yeah, that podcast was
like fuck that.
iDubbbz.
They do have
Tyler
good,
One.
They still get some good guests like Bo.
Oh
Burnham.
my God! If they had Tyler One, I swear that would be so good.
Like Bo Burnham, I might check.
He would
out
never do
that,
that though.
You know.
Yeah.
I like Hello Internet, which is a podcast with CGP Grey and Brady Heron of Numberphile, and they just talk about random stuff. But I really like that one. I love Hardcore History. It's probably the best history-related podcast out there. You should listen to it if you haven't. Each episode can like get as long as like 3 to 4 hours, but it's still really good. And then I'll listen to Joe Rogan because I had only started getting into him like a few weeks ago because I just never heard of him before, and so I just finally started getting into him.
Yeah,
so I'm
Joe
kind of listening to him, and
I listen
listen
to his
to
comedy specials.
You know what? You know what? How? Okay. D&D podcasts. Yes, Dungeons and Dragons.
Wait.
There are podcasts.
Watch some Dungeons and Dragons podcasts.
Playing it is one thing, but listening to it.
What do you even talk about?
Well, some people it helps you learn how to play it sometimes too, like how people regularly play. In my opinion,
Oh,
but
Rad's
listening
still
to like
here.
stories and stuff is that I like that.
Okay. New comments. We got. Hold on.
We should all do a Dungeons and
What do you
Dragons
guys think
campaign.
about flat earthers?
No, Batran.
Here, I got a story about flat earthers, real quick. Bob, I don't know if Mysterious. I don't know if you know.
You're
about
bringing attention to them if you keep talking about them, and now they're becoming a meme, and everyone's gonna unironically gonna say the Earth is flat someday because we're gonna make it so much of a meme.
Okay, I gotta say I
overused.
do disagree with that. That's a point that's brought up sometimes. Is you can't talk about things because you're giving them attention. I disagree with that. We gotta debate things.
Well, wouldn't it be true
Explain-
though
No,
that they're
that's
giving
not
them
true.
attention?
Just because
Yeah.
because their ideas are so inherently ridiculous that exposing them would, if anything, that's like saying Sargon of Akkad making anti-SJW videos makes people SJWs. That just doesn't no.
Some people would actually.
I don't think
Some
so.
people would be
Yeah,
stupid.
some
enough.
people.
Okay.
so when I say that it radicalizes people one way, you say that's weird. When you say the other way, it's totally possible.
I'm not saying.
Yes.
I never denied that. It's not like you like.
I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
You know what, Tigerstar? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Okay, we got
Mysterious. We should do a Mapper esports tournament for League. Yes.
Tigerstar, you should join.
Is there enough mappers that even play League?
There's Cosmic Dawn. He plays League actually.
And not to mention, there's probably a large skill difference, so that would be complicated.
Okay, let's keep going. We got a question. What advice would you give to someone trying to get into the mapping community? Here's the thing about this. You can actually answer this question. Like, if anyone asks us, oh, what advice do you have for the vloggers that are just starting? There's no advice, because it's just so automatically hopeless. You're never going to become anything. But in mapping, it's such a
You have to
niche.
piggyback off of other people, so if you can, like, meet the big guys in real life and leech off of them, then you're good.
Exactly. But in mapping is small and niche enough that we're lucky if you start, you actually have a chance of becoming somewhat successful. But so a few tips, you know, upload, just make the kind of videos you want. You got to be original. If you just make the same kind of shit everyone else makes, then why would anybody watch you if they can just find that somewhere else? You got to stand out. And, you know, join the various Discords and Skype chats if they still exist, and share your stuff around. Network. You know, there's a way of getting started. Okay, do you guys support... Oh, wait, you go.
This is how you do. You make a mapping video, then you send it, then you become the mapper winner, and then Mysterious will pick apart your mapping videos and make it better.
Exactly.
That's how you do it.
Yeah. I remember when we had guests.
I don't think us talking about people's shows gives them notoriety. It might improve their quality because of our criticism.
Ain completely disagrees with me.
I don't think it gives them
What do you mean by that, Ain? What did I say that was so controversial about starting in the mapping community?
Remember when we did like some kind of contest for someone to become a guest?
Yeah, that was how we got Chris.
Wait, what? What's happening? Well, you said my name. You cut off.
That was how we had you. We threw a contest to get you. So Batran was talking about it. And I said,
what's
that's
happening?
how we got Chris.
Well, I remember when we used to do a contest where, and then in order for like a guest to come on the show.
Oh, you mean who was gonna be the new member?
Yes.
Or kind of like that, or a new guest. Like someone to come a guest. Yeah, because like when they win the contest, and then we ask them for their Skype or Discord, and they come on, something like that.
Okay, we got Tigerstar. Why is your profile picture a cat dressed up? What breed is it?
It's a tiger.
What breed is it?
A tiger.
The Tigerstar in EmperorTigerstar is a blue character, and it's actually not a tiger. It's actually just a house cat, but his name was Tigerstar. And since I made this channel when I was a young middle schooler, I literally just like, oh, I'll take a book character I like and I'll put Emperor in front of it, and that was my entire thought process. And I noticed, like, I know we already asked him a question, but I actually have one weird question for him. Like, one time on Twitter, I saw a guy, like, you make a lot of, not many, but I saw, like, you made a kind of a picture with your character, and someone called you a furry. What is your response to that? Yeah, someone just said it. Is that cat your persona?
Is it?
I'm not.
I mean, it kind of is.
Not really, because it's a house cat. It's not like it's not standing on two legs.
Isn't Tigerstar like a character from Warriors or something?
Yeah.
He's a persona.
It's a cat.
The picture is standing on two legs, though.
That's technically his
standing up
persona.
straight.
My channel, really.
I mean, you use it in your
Confirmed
videos.
furry.
You use it in your videos as like a substitute for you. So
it's not a furry. He's literally a cat. There's no anthropomorphicness about it.
It's a persona. Tigerstar is a persona. You heard it here first.
No, stop this heresy.
Tigerstar.
Do you go to conventions?
Actually, that's a good question. Do you go to any conventions?
The only convention I've ever been to, there was a Comic-Con in Kansas City, and I've been there twice.
What state you live in, anyways?
Missouri.
Okay.
That's my main villain.
Main villain.
Burn the heretic.
There's some stuff Ain said about the mapping. He said, you should completely copy some other mapper, but if you upload regularly, people will watch you. I mean, I guess.
Oh my god.
I feel like that's aimed at someone.
But
look at Google Earth now. It's like really not. It's like a globe now.
Yeah, I don't like that.
We already
is Wyoming
have
real? Yes.
I know there's a globe, but Google. I mean, like Google Maps. I mean, Google Maps. It's like it spins like a globe now, not like a straight line.
We already had a conversation about this one time.
Yeah, we already did. Tigerstar. There was a question for Tiger. Okay, Tigerstar. Do you like Jeb Bush?
As a meme, yes.
I see
As a politician, no.
Oh, come on, give me a break.
Do you think-
Give me a break.
Please clap.
Do you think? Do you think Jeb Bush is actually not doesn't have to be like a decent politician, but like a decent person?
I don't know him personally, so I can't answer that.
He seems like a nice enough human. Like if he was an uncle, if he was like my uncle or family friends, it's like okay, all right, Uncle Jeb's over, but you know, he's not a president. He should never be a president. He should have never been a governor. He should just stay home and like make crochet models or whatever.
Can someone send me a clip
stay
of
home and make some guacamole?
someone send a clip of the "I gotta poo" thing?
Oh no!
Here,
Why are people saying it in chat?
Here, Bob, look up MapperCast on YouTube and click on the one by Japanese mapping, and you'll see it. You'll get all caught up to date. Okay.
Aren't you?
Yeah, it's called MapperCast, and it has like aesthetic lettering. Tigerstar, do you like Arnold Schwarzenegger?
MapperCast.
What was the question?
It's crazy.
I didn't hear the question. What was the question?
Do you like Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Tigerstar, do you like? The question was that Tigerstar, do you like Arnold Schwarzenegger?
As an actor, but even though I disagree with him, I do admire how he's legitimately standing up for principles against Trump and not just falling in line. And he's also pro helping the environment, which I think is a good thing, because I think the thing that I'm most upset about is how apparently protecting the environment has become a partisan issue in the United States.
Yes.
Which I think is stupid and makes no sense, because I think everyone should want to save the Earth, but, you know. So I do respect him.
But you gotta have economic growth.
Who's Caden and he's a moderator?
Caden's Valor.
Caden
I think.
Vencil, he's an
Valor mapping.
He's an no, is he? I
don't
don't
know.
think so. He's a
Oh, it's a different one.
Caden Vencil is an active community member.
Wait, hold on. That profile picture.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That Bon.
Oh God.
Okay, and new question.
We're moving on.
That
Okay.
Bon.
I got a question.
Got a question. Tigerstar, what do you think about the U.S. intervention in places like Afghanistan, Yemen, Syria, etc.?
Stop. We need to get out. It's a waste of money and time. And you're only going to create the next terrorist group. Don't do it.
Exactly.
We can all agree on
I'm
that.
gonna set it better myself.
Because, like, what people don't... Like, this is the reason why I'm not a fan of Ronald Reagan. These are some of the groups that Ronald Reagan, like, gave either weapons or money in the night. Iran, Saddam Hussein's Iraq, the Mujahideen, which became the Taliban, and Osama bin Laden. Now, how many of those people ended up attacking or being enemies of the United States? All of them. And that's the problem with interventions like that.
Yep. Okay, we got a question.
Caden says, "Who do you think will win the 2020 elections?"
And the midterms.
Too early to say.
Well, he said.
We all know it's
said
Kanye West. Come on,
midterm.
guys.
Oh my God. Okay, midterms and the 2020
The Rock.
election. I think the midterms are a little.
We'll see what...
Those are a little more relevant. So
Oprah.
we'll talk about the
and
midterms.
It's not going to be whether the Republicans will win in 2020. It'll be whether the Democrats will lose in 2020. Because Trump is very unpopular, but if by some ungodly outcome Hillary Clinton becomes the candidate again, she'll lose.
God. Oh God! Don't even suggest that. I can't relive that night.
But the point is, because remember last time Democrats technically got more votes, they just lost the Electoral College, so it was already a razor thin margin then. But so I'm more confident that because Trump has done such a horrible job that he'll lose in 2020. But if the Democrats have a bad candidate who isn't actually for anything and is just against Trump, he's not. So it all matters on who the Democrats nominate.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I think it depends on how good the everything is by 2020. Like, if everything's like, there's no real crisis going on. Like, there's no, I don't want to jinx it, but economic crashes or anything that's actually negatively affecting the United States in the long run, then I think Trump would have a good chance.
I don't know
still.
though, because
the tariffs are going to be big.
That's true. I don't think.
I mean, in
think
the
Trump
long
is remarkably safe.
There's
going
all
into
going on,
2020.
nothing going on at the time.
Trump, see, he has like some protective aura around him. He does these egregious things on scales that we haven't seen before. Whether it's the healthcare shit, tax giveaways to the rich, or children being locked up, we get this, and his approval rating just kind of stagnates. It's the same or crawls up slightly. It's like what, around 50 now.
He must be chosen. He must be the chosen one.
He just has this occult appeal to him, and it doesn't matter what he actually does.
He's Trump. Let's just say Trump's very lucky lately, and like really lucky for some reason.
I think that Trump is the American version of Silvio Berlusconi.
Berlusconi.
Yeah, Berlusconi.
Can you explain who that is?
So he was an Italian politician who became the prime minister for a while. He, rich asshole, grew up to a lot of women, did a lot of the things that Trump did, but no matter what controversy he did, he still won anyway. And his popularity seemed.
I think it's because he's done so much bad shit. Everyone that no one's surprised anymore, so it doesn't have the same effect as it used to.
That's true.
Okay, guys, Chris is uncomfortable right now.
When it comes to policies, it's completely different. But like comparing Silvio Berlusconi with Trump, I mean, it makes sense. But at least when it comes to controversial stuff, I mean, Berlusconi is way worse than Trump, because Trump made a fucking comment years ago about grabbing pussy, while Berlusconi had like night parties with fucking underage women.
Oh no, there have been accusations that Trump has been with underage women.
Yeah, accusations though.
He went to court for it, Chris.
Yeah, he went to court for it.
I don't hear it.
And what happened? Was he guilty? Was he found guilty or not?
If he found guilty, he would not be running for president.
He was because
he's rich.
Yeah, he's rich. He's settled, Chris.
Yeah, that's what happens all the time. Like okay, if I give you $1 million, will you shut up about it? That's what a lot of people do. It's sad, but the point is they're the same in the sense of how they get a lot of scandals and they're rich assholes, but somehow that bounces off of them.
No, okay. If you see what happened to Berlusconi, it did not bounce up for him. He was literally banned for running for prime minister.
Eventually, but how long? But he's also like the third longest running Italian prime minister, of all time. Because
it will eventually happen. Well, I don't think that will happen to Trump. So. Yeah. By the way, it's kind of a fun fact, but recently the whole ban on him becoming prime minister was lifted. He can now run for prime minister, but he probably won't.
But look at how long he was prime minister. So he was prime minister 94 to 95, 2001 to 2006, and 2008 to.
So disconnected, man.
Yeah, it's disconnected, but the point.
I still think comparing it to Berlusconi. I mean, I can see where you're coming from, but no, I don't see it.
When I see that kind of stuff, like a prime minister running, and then there's a little break between years, and then he ran again for a while, it triggers something. It's like
OCD.
It's like inconsistency. Like, why can't it be like freaking all together, all in one? Like,
by the way, because he wasn't elected.
Yeah. I can't. That kind of it's so weird to me. I know there's Grover Cleveland. We have Grover Cleveland that ran like different years, but in the United States. But you know what I mean.
I can't wait for that bastard to die. By the way.
Okay, Cosmic. What would happen if mainstream media found out about mapping?
Well, we are in tune. We keep answering the same questions. Okay.
Are millennials causing atlases to go out of business thanks to YouTube?
Yeah.
Fox News at 7 gives you the answer.
I think it would be, I don't know, there was definitely, we talked about this a lot in 2016 in sort of a different context, what would happen if fucking, Leafy discovered mapping, and
okay, that's a lot different.
I know it's a lot different, but I do think they're similar things. We'd have a lot of unwanted attention. It definitely wouldn't be nearly as bad with if mainstream media, because mainstream media, what are they going to send? They're going to send, mellow 45-year-olds. Leafy would send fucking malicious 12-year-olds.
Of Cosmic Mappin's house.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. I think it would mainly... I don't think it would result in anything bad. I think it would mainly just be cringy to hear them describe it. Be like, these are the alternate visions of what futures and scenarios could be, and sometimes it's super realistic. I mean, unrealistic. It would be...
I bet the people would call us alt-right or alt-left, depending on...
That is true. There would probably be some...
Oh, they are a bunch of leftists.
I mean, honestly,
oh, they
there,
are
that's
a bunch
that.
of
There is
alt-right
some.
Nazis.
There honestly is some truth to that. Mappers tend to have very extreme ideologies.
Well,
Because
yeah,
we're all
Living
still
out the
growing up.
fantasy
We're all
that their
still,
country of
That's not an
choice will
argument,
conquer the
Pattern.
world or
You know, that's
something.
not a good excuse.
we're all still growing up. We're all still edgy.
Romania
I
conquers the world.
I don't ever use age as any type of excuse for degenerative
Yeah.
behavior. I know
You sound like
I do get it,
Majestic.
but huh?
You sound like Majestic when you said that.
Maybe.
I don't count age when it comes
I
to
don't.
degeneracy.
I think you hit a certain maturity level when you're a teenager where you should
Yeah.
What
understand.
Cosmic is trying to
I
say.
don't count age either when it comes to enforcing things.
Okay, what'd you say?
Only if you do something, then that you know.
I think it doesn't matter, and it kind of is a bit
What
hypocritical
were you
for
gonna
me,
say,
but yeah.
Mysterious?
I said what Cosmic is trying to say is if she's 14, he's 14.
Oh my God, that was not what I thought you were gonna say.
Cosmic, put it down. Put it down. It's okay.
This isn't a question, but I just have to address that this was said. Zapod said, by the way, I am making a Sims 4 family called the Mapping Family. Cosmic will be the weird uncle.
Oh, that sounds like a good.
What would I
role for
be?
me. Okay, question from Ain. I've been waiting to talk about this. Ain asking me opinions on the James Gunn firing. Let me just say, that is the most ridiculous, depressing event of the last month. I hate that with all my body, heart, mind, and soul. James Gunn.
Who's James Gunn?
I'm not your dick.
Writer and director of Guardians
What
of the
have you
Galaxy
done,
1 and
AN?
2. Those were two of the best movies released in the last few years. Love those to death. The fact that he is not going to be able to execute his vision and give us the finale to that story makes me incredibly depressed. Disney better rehire him, and for the stupidest of reasons, because a right-wing douchebag, hacky cunt Mike Cernovich goes out and finds some old 2009 tweets where he was joking around with his brother. It wasn't even anything political. He just made a joke. And
I mean, the jokes were pretty bad.
They were pretty bad, but they were like 10 years ago, and he was joking around with his brother on Twitter. They were bad, but it's not half as bad as the shit I've said in the past.
Yeah, but you gotta take that question into consideration for every single situation. How far in the past on someone's social media can you look? You could say the same thing for Trump.
Okay, well, Trump
No, because,
is
Trump
still
He does a lot of
like
terrible
that.
shit today,
5 years.
but then
No,
there's a
'cause,
lot of stuff that was brought up from his past.
No, because the
Oh my
difference is
God,
Trump
Bob,
is
that's-
saying stuff today. Like,
Oh, no, I get that, but the question is, should his stuff from the past be brought up?
I mean, I think it's a little bit more relevant with the President of the United States than the Director of Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, you could say,
So that's where you draw the line, President?
yeah,
But you said
kinda,
where it doesn't
leader
matter.
of the
Okay,
free world.
okay. I don't. No, I think like in regards to something like Trump, his tweets from the past, it could be used to point out how he's a hypocrite. But I don't think that any of Trump's tweets from the past should like get him fired or anything necessarily.
Okay. Sorry. We're done. Okay. Cosmic, you said that like why he shouldn't be fired. Well, probably one of the reasons why the logic behind this is because he has probably, it's a lot of years ago. It probably has changed right from 2009. Is that what your logic is, right? Cosmic.
I suppose so. He was much
What an-
younger.
what-
he's
what-
a
what in
younger
that-
man. It's not like Donald Trump, who's over 70 years old. I think there's a little bit more development for James Gunn in the period.
But age doesn't matter.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you just said age doesn't matter.
Yeah, you said age doesn't matter.
I mean, okay.
Mountains,
Ultimately,
Shannon.
ultimately, regardless of how shitty it is, I mean, Disney's not the government; they're a company. So if they want to make that stupid decision and fire them, they can. And
Exactly.
hopefully, the fans will respond by refusing to see the movie, and they lose a lot of money.
That's true. I'm never gonna make the hacky claim that you're gonna see a lot of people make, where it's a free speech issue. These totalitarian Disney. It's not a free speech issue. They're a private.
Respond to Chris that real quick. I'm a libertarian socialist. I am not one of those Milton Friedman, Ayn Rand, Paul Ryan libertarians. Just to clarify.
There we go.
Okay.
Paul Ryan.
Well, now the Cosmic is not. It's not talking about. Let's go. Fuck, let me find something.
Zapod, fuck off.
What do you say?
Just ignore it.
Shouldn't be fired over jokes and either. I don't get that. Oh yeah, I see now. Okay.
Okay, Cosmic, are you gonna do a special for 10K subscribers? Yes, it is great. Batran, I've been meaning to talk to you about that. We got to talk about that.
Okay,
Yeah.
Cosmic. If you want to do the Billie Jean
I still
dance,
need to find a way for transportation.
Okay,
Cosmic. Cosmic. If you want to do the Billie Jean dance, you shouldn't drag Batman with you. Like that's mean, but Cosmic.
I'm not doing the Billie Jean dance. Fucking, we're not talking
Do the
about
fucking Billie Jean dance.
All right, we're not discussing that.
Bum, bum, bum.
Tigerstar. Tigerstar doesn't get what we're talking about. We can't. No, you're feeding into their. You're feeding in. Okay. I hate how people compare him to Roseanne. Roseanne was fired by ABC. James Gunn wasn't even fired by Marvel. Disney did it themselves. That's a good point.
Also, this is something that James Gunn did before he was hired, and then Roseanne did something really horrible during her, like, while she.
Yeah, exactly. No, there's nuance to everything that you got to pay attention to. You can't just
Wait.
compare shit broadly.
Because, for example, ABC is owned by Disney, and they are making the show. And while they are making the show and releasing the episodes, she did the thing and she got fired. But James Gunn, Disney hired them after he did those things, and so you can argue that there is a difference between something that you do during your job and something that you do before.
Yeah.
I like how when I said that thing, now everyone's saying Billie Jean dance in the
Yeah, you
chat.
can't bring
Yeah,
that up.
question for Cosmic, Billie Jean dance?
Well, I hope you're happy, Cosmic.
I've
I made you
answered
happy.
this. I've answered this many a time. It will happen. Not now. Not
Wait, it will happen?
Well, yeah, I'm obligated to.
You heard it
Do
here.
the moonwalk, bro.
Wait, does Tigerstar even know?
No, we're
I thought
not
you
talking
told
about the Billie Jean dance anymore. Okay, let's look abroad. What do you guys think about the South China Sea dispute?
Is that still happening?
China.
I think we need to have a trade war against China to show them who's boss.
China should be annexed by the United States.
Yes.
I kind of
We should-
understand why the dispute is going on, though, because now that China is a much larger power and they're expanding their navy, the U.S. for the past 50 years has been used to essentially having its navy go anywhere at once. Like as recently as the 1990s, when China was going to start shelling Taiwan, the U.S. sent its navy in between Taiwan and China and told them to back off. And look how close that is to the Chinese coast. And imagine the Chinese navy, like for example, like going in between like Florida and like think about it. That's the same thing. Like if the Chinese navy went in between like Cuba and Florida and told us to back off, like we would immediately be upset and be like, oh my gosh, they're invading our space and stuff like that. And so now that China's bigger and they're able to like enforce itself more, they're kind of understandable.
But what about?
I fell off my chair. Huh?
But what about the building the islands thing?
Well, yeah, that's what they're doing. Is what I'm saying. Like they're expanding their influence to counter the United States, regardless of whether you think that's good or bad. That's just what they're doing.
Well, no shit. Everyone understands why they're doing it, but the point is if they're right or wrong.
Well, I don't know, because I feel like off their coast I could understand, but I feel like saying the entire sea is yours.
But it's not. Like by doing this, China's like fucking up for like so many Asian nations.
Hold on, I just want to say, hold on, important note. I just want to say real quick, everyone, my Ethernet cable just disconnected for 1 second, so the stream will lag. That's what it's doing right now.
Oh, now we'll lose 90% of our viewers. Thanks, Cosmic.
Yeah, that
Thanks.
No, it's fine.
God,
Okay, good. Okay, it's good.
It's good.
shit.
I mean, the South China Sea. We're talking about China and Navy here, not
Yeah,
like the
they're-
South China Sea.
I do think though that the South China Sea, though, I do think that they're going a bit too far, because that area they're taking it's essentially international, because it's not, even with the Spratly Islands or whatever, like there's still so many countries that use those waters. I don't.
Yeah, it's very vital for many nations.
It would be like if the United States claimed the entire Caribbean Sea because of Puerto Rico. It's like, no,
The Bahamas, Jamaica, it's all ours.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
new question.
Can't believe you deleted that, Cosmic.
Okay, mysterious. Shush.
What do you guys think about Pan-Arabism?
I don't even know what that is. To be perfectly honest with you, don't even know what that is. I know I'm
Wow, Caustic. Be educated.
Okay, I might know what it is if you explain it to me. I probably don't know what the.
Oh,
It
well.
was a movement that arose as early as the 1910s about the idea that all of the Arabs should be in the same single country. And like when the World War I was happening and the Ottoman Empire was collapsing, the British made a deal with the Arabs, the whole Lawrence of Arabia story thing, that they would give the Arabs their own single kingdom or whatever. And then the British said, who cares? And they just colonized the Middle East with France anyway.
Hey, they were mandates.
Still, they colonized the entire thing.
I'm kidding.
And during decolonization during the Cold War, there were several efforts, like with Gamal Nasser of Egypt, who they would try to do things like, pan-Arabism, let's unite the entire Middle East under me. No, I will unite the Middle East.
Didn't they do it with Syria?
Yeah, because for a while, Syria and Egypt were one in the same country.
That's interesting. Well, now we didn't know this. What do you guys think about it?
Okay, to be fair, to defend myself a little bit, I knew that was a thing, I just didn't know the term. I think it's an absolutely terrible idea because, you know, I guess what's considered Arab runs over lots of different religious areas. You know, Sunni, Shia, you're going to get all that bullshit going on.
But what if we have an Arabian state which is inclusive for all Shia and Sunni?
I mean,
that's not going to happen, but I'm saying...
Theoretically, that could work. I mean, just traditionally in the Middle East, when you try to unite these ethnic groups under one nation, it almost never works out. Whenever you try to put together some artificial country, it has always resulted in these crazy wars. So I don't think that would ever work.
Your mic keeps getting worse and worse.
Is
I'm telling you, by the way.
No.
Like it cuts off even more, like even more frequent. Anyways, well.
Okay.
Well, new question now.
Do you guys believe Antarctica should be colonized?
Yes, it should be colonized by the Russians.
I do not think it should be colonized, but there should be more research done.
I mean, it technically already is because like there are like 7 countries that have claimed almost all of Antarctica already. I mean, they don't enforce it very well, but you know,
it's Norwegian.
Arguably, it already is because like Norway, New Zealand, Australia, Chile, Argentina, and the British and France have all taken a slice of Antarctica, or they've claimed they have.
Wait, France? I get like everyone else of them, but France? Where did they come from?
The colonial time?
Well, yeah, fair enough. But they don't own anything close to it anymore, do they now?
Yeah, they do. There's the Carolean Islands, which are
fuck's sake.
No, these are islands in the South Indian Ocean.
Yeah, I know, but I always forget about them. Just whatever, sure.
Here, I'll post a picture in the text chats. Which areas they claim. There's one unclaimed area. But other than that,
I'll show it on stream. This will be a good opportunity to use the thing. Oh shit, I can't.
And Argentina, the UK's, and Chile's claim like over, which is funny, and it also shows how little they actually enforce any of them.
Wow, France is so little. Why would they care? Why would they...
Oh my god! Yeah,
I saw a face.
Yeah, just ignore that.
Well, okay, sure. I know what the question was. Yeah, maybe if they can like settle it, maybe they could try to split it between them. Maybe that will. I don't know. I really don't care much. What the? Kartik, why are you sharing? Okay, anyway. Yeah.
I was just trying to show the image.
I think we should move on to the quiz soon here.
Yeah, we should.
All right. Let's take
C. The answer is C.
Huh?
Very funny.
Okay. Let's take. Let me see if there's any other thing that like. No, I guess we're good. I think we're in a good place to move on to the quiz.
More just trying to build an island.
Okay, so let's go into the quiz. Just one moment. Let me get it all ready.
I'm not gonna lie. This podcast. I don't know why, but it was calmer than usual.
Calmer? Yeah, we weren't talking. Usually we
less people.
Yeah, there are a bit less people, but usually we just talk over each other a lot. Like, once
Yeah,
again,
yeah,
I'm not
you-
trying to throw shade, but Viper loves to talk over people.
Yeah, it does a bit randomly. Cosmic, you started something like Concordia.
Huh?
If anyone still wants to ask me for a relationship, all right. Okay.
Alright, Batman, what is your relationship advice?
Yeah, that's
It's like it's too bad to talk about it now because it's so
No,
past.
I want to know.
Okay.
I want to know at this point.
I want to.
Tell
Patrick,
us.
I need it. I'm desperate.
We're desperate, Batman. I
I'm lost
haven't been in a
in my
relationship
love
since I
life.
was
I
7,
need
Batman. I need you.
Wait, what?
Come on, Batman,
Yeah,
tell us.
Cosmic needs it. Come on, Batman.
It's a quarter after 1.
Okay, so basically, relationships are developed and maintained through experience. Basically,
Okay.
you
Awesome.
gotta, you know, it's like if you guys don't talk a lot or don't go out much together or interact, it'll start to drift apart. So make sure to, you know, I don't know, I invite her to go somewhere, like a theme park or something. I mean, the sense of adventure and other stuff like that. I mean, if people go to adventures with each other, like, I don't know, it makes people closer together. You know what I'm saying?
But what's wrong
So,
with-
make
what
sure
is it?
you see them enough and do things with them enough.
Experience, basically. Like, you don't have to do it with them all the time. Like, sometimes if you're gonna see them all the time, every day, talk every day, that's on you. Like, sometimes it can get, or like after years, probably could get boring. But I mean, like, yeah, experience, like going out, doing stuff.
Ren, I
you
hate
know?
to say it, but that's basically what I was saying.
Oh.
I was saying experience, not like whatever you said.
Ooh. I mean,
I
seriously,
said that you should make sure you do enough stuff with them, but not too much.
But did
Well,
you?
I'm just saying it in a way where, like, it's kind of like psychology, just experience. So
But Mysterious,
experience. That's what I was gonna say.
but Mysterious, did you mention theme parks?
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's the example.
That's
Veteran-
the big one.
That's
Batman
example.
one.
No, but seriously, that was good.
Zero.
That was good,
Examples.
though. It's good
a
advice.
theme park, movie, something like that.
Just make MapperCast crit Radicalization. Yeah, I will say
Or
before
just,
we
Dormer.
move into the quiz. Actually, no, I'll give a recap after the quiz. All right, let's move into the quiz. Get this show on the road. Thank you for that advice, Byron, because I needed to get my notebook. And yay! Oh, that's not the right one. Fade away. Okay. So, question 1. Fan winner. Get everything set up. Why? Oh, that's me again. Why is that? Okay. Trying to get everything set up here. It's a little archaic, but we got it. Okay, so question 1, fan winner. Whoever gets this question right on the next episode of MapperCast, you will. Well, actually, just now.
Full screen it.
I can't
The
because
full screen. Come on, Cosmic.
I need to see the chat. Okay.
No.
Yes, I do. If I had like
Good chat.
dual monitors, then that would be.
Oh.
That'd be... Batman, why do you keep hurting yourself, man? Okay.
Put your
I
gun
don't know.
away.
I have big
Not
legs.
too late.
Put your gun away.
All right.
No, I actually have. There's a small desk and I have big legs. So
All right, whatever.
All right, we got to move
He's a
on.
very thick
So,
boy.
whoever gets this question
no,
right,
no, not thick, just very tall.
Batman,
I'm
come on.
kidding. Just stop. Just
We all
continue.
know you're not thick, Batman. You don't need to tell us.
I'm not thick. I can tell you that.
Okay, man.
Bad though.
What?
All right, moving on. So, whoever gets this question right will submit a topic that will be guaranteed to be discussed on the next episode of MapperCast. You can submit that topic to our Twitter, to me on Twitter, in the comment section of this video once it's uploaded, or our Discord, anywhere where you can get a hold of us. So let's go. Who made this Photoshop of Chris?
Wait, what? What did you do now?
Who made this Photoshop, guys?
I swear, Cosmic, I swear.
Mamma mia.
I will beat you up.
Mario's mad.
Chris will assault me.
Rat, you son of a.
Ain got it! Automatically, Ain got it. It was Mysterious Mappin.
I hate you so
Okay.
much, Mysterious.
Ain, you are like...
Wait, what? Aiden didn't say that.
Yeah, he did. He said...
You should all play
Wait, oh my god, I'm stupid.
Civilization
It's
5.
Zostite. Zostite got it. Zostite got it. I'm dumb. I don't know why I thought Ain got it. It's Zostite.
We should all play Civilization 5.
Manfred, this is completely irrelevant to
Yeah, no
the.
offense, Farron, but come on.
Oh god, that photo.
Alright, Zostite, you got it. I'm sorry. I don't know why I thought it was fucking Ain.
Not relevant.
I'm glad Ain didn't get it
Excuse me.
because that would have just been terrible. Okay, moving on. Question 2, Mapper winner. So whoever gets this question right, Chris, you're echoing, my dude.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are. Okay. Whoever gets this question right, we will review one of your mapping series on the next episode of MapperCast. So please only answer this question if you are a mapper who has a mapping series. Too many times people answer this and they don't have a show, and that's just a disaster. So only answer if you have a show that we haven't reviewed. So let's move on. What is MapperCast's latest super special project? This one's easy. Oh god. Okay, my computer isn't happy with me.
Isn't that
Aang said that you gave him the answer.
they're pretty easy?
I mean, the question marks. So I
Okay.
don't.
Oh
I think
god.
due to the delay, that he did not copy the
Some
answer.
people are just messing around.
It was a mistake. People were saying Eminem.
That's,
It's been announced.
no,
That's wrong. So you guys are all wrong.
don't give him hints, man.
Minecraft. I'm in.
Rat, what are you talking about?
You play Minecraft.
Fuck's sake.
Come on, guys.
You four, let's
You
play.
should actually do a let's play at some
come-
point.
Bachelor, we don't have the same game, all of us. I think at least.
Everyone has Europe Universalist 4.
I don't.
Cosmic, do you?
What are we talking about? Who has what?
Do you have EU4?
I have it. I don't play it.
Wow, you're bad.
That sucks because everyone back in the early days of the mapping community, everyone had Europe Universalist. Told everyone to get it, and everyone got it.
Bachelor, he can't. He's too busy playing CS:GO. Okay.
I don't play CS:GO anymore.
Let's all form a team and go into esport tournaments.
No.
Man, we really don't want to do an esport tournament, man. You gotta.
Well,
Come on,
I guess
guys. Like,
we-
people were getting it at the beginning. They were just, like, slightly, like...
So much, Cos. We need to fix that.
Is my mic messing up? I don't know. It's been messing up all day.
If there was a ever Mapperdonian team, I would.
No one's gonna answer the question anymore.
I thought
Seriously.
this would be the easier one.
Answer
Oh,
the
okay, there we go.
question, guys.
No one has got it. Nobody's got it.
No one.
Drink some water.
Come on, guys. Literally
Yeah,
just...
I'm going to drink some water until someone gets it. I'm gonna
Just
drown
go
if
to
I
the-
don't stop.
okay. Somebody
Guys, please
go
stay
to
on.
the MapperCast Twitter. It's right there.
I thought this is so easy.
This is so easy. There we go.
Oh.
Rectangular cats.
No, not that.
Rectangular cats. We're
No.
doing rectangular cats. He was actually
They
our
had to use
first.
the technical name.
Yes, that's what it's
It's
called.
him. Wait, he's still alive? Rectangular cat.
Because we're keeping it secret.
My man.
He's still here, guys. Rectangular
Holy
cats
shit.
after all these years.
Is he still making videos?
I think so. Yeah, he's still
Yes.
making videos. Good job,
Holy sh-
rectangular cats. It's been a while. Okay.
I mean, I'll give it to him. He's still.
been- Almost heaven,
West
West
We're
Virginia.
not doing that again.
He's making videos for 3
Greatest
years.
mountains, Shannon River.
All right, folks. So I guess
Not even
that
how the song goes.
What
brings-
is Project MM?
Oh
we're
well,
not
you'll
talking
see
about
when
what
it.
Project MM is. It's still.
You'll see when it comes out, guys. So
Yeah, we
please
never talked
subscribe.
about it. I mean, we did,
I mean,
but
we're tr-
like, not what it's
there's a-
about.
There's a reason why it has a code name.
If
Okay.
I get
So, we got to talk to Tigerstar about that too. So, all right, we'll do that later. So, folks, thank you so much for coming down. I just want to say this is probably it's an honor to host again. It's been so long. I genuinely love hosting this show. It's the bomb diggity. I want to thank
Honored to host with Tigerstar as a guest.
yes, I want to thank Tigerstar for coming on
Thanks
down.
for having me.
Oh, anytime, man. It was really great. You created an actual discussion here, which doesn't happen a whole lot.
Yeah, we need you.
You should join. You should join the Scream Fest.
Oh my god, no.
Don't know what that is.
Screamfest
It's
is
basically where you scream in the mic so loudly you'll
No,
die.
no, that's not what it is.
not what it is.
Debates, then.
Screamfest is a little below Tigerstar's pay grade. So yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much. Thank you everyone coming on down. Thank you Tigerstar for joining us. It's been a great time, great show.
Would you ever? Would you ever come for another podcast someday, or are you?
Probably.
Cool.
Tigers,
Yeah,
don't go near those
fun,
TMC
'cause it
guys.
really
They're
is
for
fun.
trouble.
Those TMC guys, you gotta stay away from them. They'll take your lunch money.
No, don't make fun of them. I don't want to fight them.
All right, I'm not a.
I like TMC. I don't want to fight them.
I'll take them all myself.
Okay, try to challenge them to League of Legends.
No, I don't play League.
All right, folks. That's
Then they probably don't play League of Legends either.
Batman, why
Okay,
do
so
you
you
keep
have a
bringing
head
up?
start.
Why do you keep bringing up League of Legends?
Because I want us to play League of Legends.
Lame.
No one wants to play with me.
Lame. Yeah, no.
I'm
Okay,
sad.
folks, let's bring this to a close. Do our traditional scream.
Also,
Thank you.
esports. We should do esports.
Batman,
Batman, I swear.
Okay, just continue it.
Okay. Thank you all for coming on down. Let's bring this to an end. I'm gonna count down, then we'll all start screaming and end the show, and that'll be great. Okay. 3, 2, just like iCarly, guys. 3, 2, 1. Back, scream. That's
It was
not
a scream.
Yes, scream. That's what we did.